Cause baby, now we got bad blood. You know it used to be mad love. So take a look what you've done. Cause baby, now we got bad blood. Hey! Now we got problems. And I don't think we can solve them. You made a really deep cuts. And baby, now we got bad blood. Hey! Did you have to do
Hello, welcome to Spotlight here live on GRAPPL Patreon. I'm Benno.
And I'm Matty.
What an intro. You had your choice.
Another one now, and I'm gutted now.
The outro's going to be Metro Boomin now, pretty much set up. But yeah, we've just been on our pre-show, Matty, setting up the schedule for October that people might have seen on screen there. Very excited. Chris Platt making all of our day. Got a hell of October ahead and a Feb pay-per-view to do on a Sunday night. What could be better?
What could be better than that? I mean, some great shows, but yeah, as revealed there on the pre-show, a Shane mixtape, basically a deep cut. It's just going to be amazing, Benno. Can't wait to dive into that.
Oh, the month is going to be insane. Well, the patrons have just aired us run it down, but we'll bear with us, patrons. We run it through for the public. We do have a lot of shows coming up in October. Always a great time to jump on the Patreon. But yeah, Platt has just added another corker for us for this upcoming month. We have a film club coming up, which will be a Halloween horror, as my mouse decides to break at a really inopportune moment. We have a flashback on No Mercy 2001 with the great Michael Hamflett coming up this week, as well as the return of GRAPPL, lads, Matty, which is the big one of the month. It was actually until the Shane show got announced, but yeah, it's a hell of a month coming up on GRAPPL Patreon as I try and get that graphic off the screen.
Just what a diverse collection of shows you've got. You've got, obviously, as you say, the flashback, as you say, with the great man himself continuing our Fed Odyssey of 2001. Shane, which we mentioned. GRAPPL, lads, Benno, the lads on location again. You know, just who knows what we're
going to say on the pre-show.
Yeah,
any suggestions of where we should go for them? I reckon anywhere on the northwest train map. I reckon we could go potentially. Maybe in the Merseyside area. Maybe we'll keep it close, but maybe we could come up with something wild. You know, weird and wonderful location.
Of course. And then, as you say, going off wrestling and going on to the Halloween horror for spooky season. So yeah, I had a eclectic run of shows, to say the least, Ben, but really looking forward to them all this month, mate, as always. And then, you know, as people can see at the bottom there, weekend shows, Spotlight, Retro, it's all coming up this month, mate. What a month.
That's it, and obviously we'll be starting hot with Hamflett this week. Have you done your homework for the No Mercy 2001 show? That's going to be first up. Said in the pre-show, I when you announced that to me, drunk in London around All In at the Copper Box, didn't even remember that show. And then I went through the car. I was like, oh, I love that. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love this main event. Oh, it's the one that's main evented by Rob Van Dam, Steve Austin, and Kurt Angle. But I did see you were getting a little bit of the homework in early, Matt.
Yeah, well, I've just left it there, perfect for after we finished recording here. I've got the two main events. Rock v Chris Jericho was literally paused as they're in the ring, followed by that triple threat. So yeah, done most of the show, and you know what? Won't say too much, but it's been a good show so far. So can't wait to dissect it. And as you said before on the pre-show, just talk to Hamflett for an hour before we actually talk wrestling. The best part. So
we need to schedule these around when any of us have got like some kind of America trip or something like that, or some other excuse to just daft fast food and all the other fun things we do. So yeah, those ones are always a treat. Like I say, looking forward to GRAPPL, lads. Really looking forward to Shane. I think Platt has stolen the month there on our pre-show. Had a little visual game going for it as well. Kings of the Mountain are going to need to up their game going forward. But yeah, Retro will be back later in the month. Spotlight weekend show, as you said as well, Matty. But yeah, might as well start hot. Get right into it. We've got this is a pay-per-view review edition of Spotlight. If you're missing JP, we did just have him on the pre-show. We'll have him back for weekend shows. It's another pay-per-view weekend next weekend. WrestleDream, you know, the real big show of the month coming up, Matty, of course. But yeah, we'll start hot with the pay-per-view from last night. Got a little bit of news to round up at the end as well, dependent on time. But tell you what, Matt, at a pay-per-view at 11 o'clock on a Saturday night, is that prime time? I think that's better, isn't it? I like the you know, when it's a 5 o'clock show or a 6 o'clock show, you know, when it's been in Europe. I felt like 11 felt just about right last night, and yeah, got a good bit of sleep today. Feel ready and rested to go. Can they not just do that every month? Like, it'd be fucking great.
And as you say, like the Saudi shows are too early, 5 o'clock. As you say, the European ones still, but I think I still like it in the nighttime. So 11 o'clock's perfect. Although I did think, and I was right, that this was going to go over 3 hours, which it did about 3.5 in the end, wasn't it? So
yeah, they took the fucking piss. Like they really did. Like for 5 matches, it did not need to be that long whatsoever.
Once it got to the shark cage match and they were taking the time and they were working on the leg, I was like, yeah, this is going to be way past the 3 hour mark here. And I was, by the end of it, which I'll mention a good few times on this review, I was absolutely buzzing. I didn't get a sleep till about 3:45, but I was absolutely buzzing. I know, I was checking all the discourse already, checking our Discord itself, because I stayed off that last night. But yeah, I was taking it all in, mate, soaking it all up. Just brilliant stuff.
Well, as it is yours, it's a Matty review, this one, if anything. I'd say, where do you want to start? We'll start from the top. We'll
go in order, Ben. We've got to go in order.
I suppose if we're going to start from the top, we get to start with the what will be the outro music tonight, which was Cody Rhodes and Metro Boomin. Starting the show with Triple H pretending he knows who Metro Boomin is. Is he a Nigel? You're supposed to know. Producer, for those who don't know,
I got filled in last night off a
name. Don't be fooled. It's a name, but it's in the background. Make some drums. Is probably what he's most famous for.
But there was other big stars in the crowd as well, like Killer Mike. He was popping for Killer Mike,
Killer Mike sat next to fucking Bill Goldberg. Who had that?
What a tag team! But I'd seen that cold open. I spoiled myself. I'd seen that on YouTube earlier on in the day, so I'd already watched it. And you know what? It was cheesy and stuff, but I did get a kick out of some of the lines.
Going to build somewhere though. They were very fast and furious with it. It was another one of those segments, and they've just been staking out the arena, I guess. Okay, fair enough. That's all we got. But yeah, that was fun. Obviously, Bianca, Jade Cargill, and Naomi kicked it off. Just as always happens with these hosts, they literally got nothing to do other than again stand around in the background while you say that mix of celebrities. We had fucking Quavo was there with Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard, the next track, and Scott Steiner and all that. Like the party through the night. That's pretty much all I had to do. All night working at the girls. I don't even remember Naomi being announced. I feel like it was supposed to be Jade Cargill. And
that was SmackDown. They added it on SmackDown. Bianca went up to her on backstage and said, "You're going to be with us tomorrow night." So yeah, it was. It was. See, I watched SmackDown, but I would have loved to be at that.
A great time with Quavo. What they were chatting about? While they were that smoke-filled room filled up.
Yeah, I just wanted to sit next to Jey Uso, to be honest, Benno. I just trying to go party with him, to be fair, mate.
Main event Jey Uso didn't get on the show. Sorry, we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that another time, mate.
We'll get there, but yeah, Samantha Evans obviously kicked off the show, and we started controversial enough, Matty, with the Hell in a Cell match, or Opener in a Cell, as we christened it on the weekend show with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. They're going to fall out a couple of times tonight, Matty, but I don't expect this is going to be one. Even post this, I feel like this was maybe the right spot for it. Maybe hindsight being everything, it could have gone on last, but obviously the big moment at the end of the night probably had to be at the end of the night as well, which was the thing we were all missing in the build to it. But yeah, whatever you think about WWE putting these types of matches on first. They went out there, Drew and Punk, and I was nervous. Maybe that's the reason I didn't want them to go on last, because I was like, I don't feel 100% sure of myself that this is gonna work. And to be honest, it had to be what it was, which was a fucking proper Hell in a Cell match, Matty. I absolutely love this. There was a bit of conversation on the Discord as to whether the blood was real or fake. There's some news that's come out today about Drew having staples closed. That the conspiracy theorists among us are wondering whether that's part of the grander work. But real blood or not, I mean, none of it's real, isn't it? They cut their own heads. Like it is what it is. This match was exactly what it needed to be. It was violent. It was hard hitting. It was like they were taking things with the face. Like Steve Austin was probably watching her own fucking made up Mr. CTA as CM Punk just went face first into the cage, and Drew took apparently where they got split open, if it's true, with the box like right over his head. Like these were taking stuff with their faces, with their heads, with the whole of their body. Like for me, the bigger cringe moments of the night from a pain point of view was fucking Drew taking that one on the steps where he went lower back first on the
Claymore. On the I called that spot early on, thinking he was going to land flat on it, but as you say, he was landing on the corner.
That was worse. Like that's worse than anything else that was in this match. It had the right level of violence. It had, for me, I would say this was Drew McIntyre's career performance, and Gareth is going to drop in and go, yeah, was it like 4 stars or whatever? Yeah, if Gareth's even that charitable with it, but it was for me. I think this feud has been Drew McIntyre's career performance. I've said it a few times. I might be a CM Punk homer, but as far as the promos, at least for the last while, it's been Drew that's been carrying them. And then as far as this match goes, Punk was great. Punk was his old self. You know, he's still got it in him. He's still got it there. But I thought, as a starting point, Matty, I thought Drew was absolutely brilliant in this match. Just a great performance from him to top off a feud that's been up and down as far as like the execution of it, but just the perfect way to end this feud, this match.
For sure, and it was the selling as well, Benno, by them as well, and the pace it was at, because it was slow, but it was needed to be because of the violence, because of the stuff that was getting done. And Drew McIntyre, you're right about him. He's basically been 60-40, would you say, overall in this feud against CM Punk, with the promos, like the delivery, the performances in the matches. Yeah. Honestly, this was... I obviously it was going to be good, this, and I said on the weekend show, if it wasn't going to go last, you had to put it on first, not in the middle of the card for me. And it just over-delivered and then some, though, Bennett. One of the top 5 Hell in a Cell match for sure. And dare I say, one of the best matches in the last, decade, at least 15 years, maybe of all time. It was that good. It was
from
amazing. Just from WWE. But I'd say what I've seen from anything, though, Benno, genuinely.
And from Punk, too, to be honest. It was up there with
everything. That's what I mean. Punk, like, as others critics, like you say, was more nervous, like you said, going into it for him. He was incredible, like, both ways. It was so well done. It couldn't have went any better on the night for everything. The spots, the suplex off the apron through the table. There's so much stuff you could go into breaking the actual match down. But
it wasn't even just the spots, it was the impact of the ones like that. That like just looked like it hurt. That like it probably did. It looked like Punk was in pain. Somebody made a joke. I think it was Rover said that on the Discord. The Punk was trying to get Saudi Arabia off in a month, so he doesn't have to cross that awkward bridge. But like
he won't be on
lined up in bed today. I wouldn't be shocked, like, because he was like proper taking these bumps with like his whole, like he must have known, like, he obviously the split reaction to the other matches, and I think we were mostly positive, weren't we, on the touch 4 corners, fucking what you call it, not bull rope match,
strap match,
strap match they call it. Yeah, we were kind of split on that. I hated the first match. Some people loved it. I think he knew the criticism going in and knew he had to give like a proper vintage CM Punk performance. Like you said there, I would agree this is one of the better WWE matches in a long time. One of the better Punk matches, I would say. I think it was better than the Joe match at All In last year. I think you'd probably have to go back to Eddie Kingston to get a Punk performance as good as this, I would say. Maybe the MJF similar match with him as well. But like top level of like Punk stuff Punk's done since he's come back.
But it was
best Hell in a Cell in 2 decades, Platters as well.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely in the top 5 Hell in a Cell matches, but it's just everything about even the aftermath, Benno, where like he was walking and collapsed in the aisle, and he put the oxygen on his finger, getting his obs and the oxygen mask, and where's my wife? And it was just everything.
That was proper Sean. That was Sean after. I always remember that, like China staring at Sean, Crumbs and Matt, like carrying him off. Like Punk had he had the trunks on as well, didn't he? Had the black and white tights as a tribute. Of course he did.
It was earned though, Benno. It was even Drew in the ring, like crying after it. It wasn't like the emotional crying. He was just gutted that he promised to end Punk's career and didn't. That was great as well. Everything about there was not one fault in this match at all. And even I was thinking, even after it, Drew McIntyre, like could you turn him? Like, not obviously full on face, but he could get a face run out of this now, because he's the one, like, Punk's obviously going to be fighting gun for the Survivor Series for sure in that world title mix. We said on weekend show, yourself mainly, what's next for Drew? Really, what is next for him? You could get him as a shades of grey or maybe a face off this, you know. You could, but it's he was good. He deserves onto bigger things as well, Drew. He can't be lost in the shuffle after that performance.
He was obviously doing this Diesel tweener character before Punk, but the Punk thing's been the peak of the character and the peak of his career and the peak of his powers as a promo. I think they both should be saying thank you to each other post their feud.
Oh, they will.
Like, what fucking Punk's like. It feels like he probably fell out with Drew again already, rather than have like a teary hug backstage. But he should be thanking like Drew for like bringing him up a level and giving him something to sink his teeth into, and giving him a performance like this. And Drew should be mega thankful for Punk, because as much as it's become a meme on here about me liking Drew, never liked Drew before this. Never liked Drew. I might not like him after this, depending on what they do afterwards as well. It obviously brought him up a level as well. And what you said about the match, like, I don't know if it was perfect because
I know what you're going to say, but go on, bring
I'm
it up.
letting it go, but the fucking beads, like, did they have to?
It had to happen, didn't it? They had to, but they had to. If you've been watching, this is where we disagree.
I've been watching,
this is the split, though, isn't it? It gets a pop every time it gets mentioned or brought out, Benno. So, but that's the best way they could have done it, though, for me.
Yeah,
they didn't overdo it. You know what I mean?
Unless
that was
stuck some pins in there when they were with them or something like that. Maybe you could have done that to make it a bit more, I don't know, a bit more like suited to this type of match. It was the least offensive way of doing it, I agree, but I feel like the story had left that beat behind and you didn't actually have to. So there was that. There's also I'm surprised from a retro boy you're calling this match perfect when CM Punk did that whatever that sharpshooter was. And you know what you say about Drew helping Punk. Drew literally put himself back in that sharpshooter. Drew, you watch that back. Drew literally does a handstand to help Punk get his legs up so that he can get back into position for it. And obviously, you know, they're both tired.
But I can let it go, Benno. He's tired. He's overcome with emotion and anger, so I can let stuff like that go.
Drew was struggling to get those steps up. I thought that he might have worked me, but I thought that was legit.
He can't get up. That's where the selling for me comes. The minute I thought he's been unbelievable at selling this match was that whole. Like I was sitting with Cody and he said, "How compelling was that? Him trying to put the steps in the ring. It took like 2 minutes, but we were both engrossed in that little bit. And it was like, honestly." Can't speak high enough of this match. I honestly thought it was no perfect.
Blood in a WWE match as well. Platt says there.
He promised it though. He had to deliver.
Apparently, there's a Drew picture and the staples are real. So whatever your conspiracy theory might be about Punk,
that was real blood. It
did appear very quickly. It did appear very quickly. So I see where people are coming from. Like, yeah, he absolutely was busted open. At least Drew was anyway. It was just you say they have to do it, but it's a massive departure from what we've had for years. Even, you know, there's horrible things Triple H says in the presser afterwards we will get into, but one thing he did say there was like he was pretty much saying himself like, yeah, this match has not been what it should be, and this was a way to bring it back. He's basically talking about the blood and he's talking about the violence levels, because this has been it was a throwaway pay-per-view for years, wasn't it? It was like, Hell in a Cell month, let's do a PG Hell in a Cell. Like, this really was like, is this the best one since Bad Blood? The last Bad Blood? Maybe Foley, I suppose. Like that, I never count that as a great match. Like, I know you're high on what one is it? Triple H and
Batista's good. I watched that. Yes, we watched that yesterday. That is good. That's quite violent as well. Bit of barbed wire, screwdrivers, and that and such.
And he gets it done. He understands that. Yeah.
Yeah. It is, and I say it's the end to this feud, which has been a blood feud. So it was a perfect booking, and they had to do it. They both promised it. It was always going to come. And the fact that this as well, even like the refs with the towel, I like that as well, because they were just wiping it out their eyes. They explained that on the commentary, which, don't get me wrong, it was the first time in a while I had a problem with the commentary last night. I think it was a bit too much. First time in a good while for that. But when the ref, he was very weird.
When they were bleeding, he didn't seem to want to mention it, and it had to be Corey had to jump in and like, God, you know, the bleeding there. You see, I know some of the stuff about the muter scale and all that. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
very Excalibur in its delivery, those lines.
But even the ref, as I say, with the towel and the gloves, it played into it as well, trying to help them wipe the eyes. And Drew told them to go away on like the closing stretch as well. So I just think that added.
That was a good spot. That was a good spot.
Really, really good. Really fucking brilliant. Good. No, it was fucking brilliant.
If it was, I think I'm a while. I go 4.5 on it. I think
easy. Maybe 4.75. Ben, you know, honestly, I could, mate. It really fucking good. Like, honest to God. And Crew even said like one of the best all-time WWE matches. He was that high on it. Like, he absolutely loved it. And it's right. It was so good. It weren't just like, I know everyone in the chat and yourself, Punk. It doesn't matter. It was so fucking good, honestly. And I just can't wait to see. As I say, I hope Drew doesn't get lost in the shuffle after this performance, because Punk is prime for Gunther now, isn't he? So we'll see how he can carry on.
Maybe that's where they're going with him. I think for me as well, it's one of those things where like it was, if this hadn't have happened, I don't think I would have had this feud in consideration for feud of the year, because there were so many lows. I think for me, to go with the highs, don't get me wrong, but it feels a little bit like last year when JP had Hangman Swerve, and it was like there was a couple of segments we all fucking hated, but overall we all enjoyed the feud. This brought it back into the conversation for me. I don't think it's going to be me winner, but as far as a WWE feud, probably is. Yeah, I mean, harsh go 4.5. I don't know.
No, bet it was. No, I'm thinking. It's the sacred thing. Can you go 5 on it? Because I'm thinking, what stopped me if I'm saying there's no perfect? Why aren't I going 5? Like, genuinely, it was that good. Like, I'm gonna have to watch it again this week. But then maybe I'll go full 5 on it then.
The thing I'll say about it, it was the best a WWE match of this type I think could possibly be, and the best they could have possibly done given the circumstances and given, you know, some of those WWE tropes that they did still go to in the match. Yeah, near perfect WWE match, and yeah, incredible feud all in all. Now that all the dust has settled, and one that I imagine we'll do. I'll force Garrett to watch this in about 3 years when we do a deep cut on it.
I hope he likes this one. He's got to like this one, hasn't he?
It seems wall to wall. Everyone's doing it. The chat going there. Platt going 4.75. Andy Ryan going 4.5. Brandon from New Jersey saying he laughed so hard with the beads. It made the match a 5. Yeah, I've seen that. The beads have made people go up or down.
And I get that. I do get that at the same time, Ben. You know, that's probably been, apart from the Seth thing at SummerSlam, that's the only kind of negative split, isn't it? The beads situation. The promos, you know, and they've been up and down per se, but they've generally been good. The match, like the strap match, as you say, it's the bead stuff that splits people. So I can get that.
Absolutely loved it. Best possible way to kick this show off. Best way to end the feud. And yeah, let us know if you agree or disagree with us. Like I say, Drew is there is a changed in my perception now as a wrestler going forward. So we'll see what he does next. But absolutely brilliant match. And yeah, obviously the brilliant matches kept coming. Unless you got anything else on that, Matty. As we were, please don't waste CM Punk on Seth at Mania. They can't go back to that.
100%. That's the Mania match. I'm sorry, guys. That is the Mania match. Benno, it is. It is.
He killed that first match. No, let's not.
Who is it then? Gunther Survivor Series, 100%. Because I'm going to go on record here, and I hope I don't make to look a fool of. Punk will 100% not be at Saudi. He will not do that show. He will wrestle Gunther at Survivor Series for me. Then what you do? Cody and that is going to be took off. It's only Seth, which was going to be this year's WrestleMania. I'm sorry, guys. That's your WrestleMania.
Rock can only wrestle one wrestler, though, can't he? So, you know, Roman, Cody.
No chance. Roman will be with Solo or Jacob if he's not going to be with Rock. So,
Cody v Punk, maybe, Roman says. I got to be up for that.
I bet that's the Mania match.
Way big. Oh, well, but yeah, fantastic.
That'll happen, but not at Mania.
Yeah, I almost don't want to move on, but I kind of covered it, haven't we, as far as a match goes? Just
we have
absolutely brilliant. And yeah, I think even our like most died in the wall anti-WWE listeners based on our Discord last night, I think we all had a very, very good time watching that live. So yeah, fantastic stuff. And like I say, followed up by Nia Jackson Bailey.
Yeah,
this is where we disagreed on the weekend show. It's this middle of the card. We'll get into the segment that comes later that I feel like should have been a match, but I feel like the middle of this card. As much as I think I agree with the way WWE lay these 5-match cards out, Punk Drew couldn't have been later. If you weren't going to put them on last, you probably couldn't have put it before the main event. Putting it where it was just meant these matches had a real uphill battle coming after it. And even without it, to be honest, I'm not sure some of these would have hit it, but I'll let you start first, Matty. Nia Jackson and Bailey, a couple of women I've heard you defend it a bit recently. Do you want to do your best before I go in?
I mean, you know what? This was start off with it wasn't great. Didn't say it was going to be great going in. It had a lot of story behind it with obviously Tiffany and the cash-in and Naomi, which I thought might have turned. But when I watched SmackDown, she was obviously one of the hosts now, so that took that out the equation. But yeah, it didn't start great, Ben. The first portion of this match, like, and I know everyone's mentioned it in the chat there already, and it's the obvious thing to go to. What were they thinking with that Hurricane Rana spot? Like, when Nia actually done it, Bailey still like delayed reaction, flipped and went over. Just don't sell it at that point, you know what I mean?
You replayed it though, and I watched like the little bit, like the 15-minute YouTube highlights they put up today, just to kind of recap myself on last night, really, just like while I was waiting to start here. And they put it in the replay. They put it in the YouTube highlights. The last thing they show you to the match. It's like, why? Why would you include that? Because I said on the Discord, like I got a bit of pushback, but like for me, I just feel like the people who are rating Nia Jax highly, I feel like it's a meme. And I get it, because we've all done it with like good, bad wrestlers in the past. That's like the old Sid conversation, isn't it? The best bad wrestler that there ever was a shout on him. And you don't want everybody to be cookie cutter and, you know, the same. And
yeah,
I kind of get it that she offers something different, but she's not doing that. For me, she's not doing any of this stuff on purpose. It is just that she's a bit shit. And you can get entertainment value out of it. But you also get matches like this where when she's a bit shit and things go wrong, like that Rana looked terrible. She almost killed her on the fucking bonsai, like went very
Pop
low
up
on her
Samoan
body.
drop. One of them didn't go. That looked,
too,
that looked like on Bailey's hip. But
few of those moments, like you can't say any of this is bad design.
Yeah, no, it's not, and yeah, you've hit the nail on the head there. Like she's not, like, obviously, as she is a bit rough around the edges, and that's why I think me included. But I think it's more typical me, Ben. It's more the all-round character that's been better since she's come back as well. Do you know what I mean? I think she's a bit more. I put a lot of stock into that Rhea Ripley match in Australia, and I know it was always going to be heated because it was in Australia with Rhea. But I think she held up to her end of the bargain in that match, and she's a great heel, a natural heel as well that the fans will never ever like. So I think she's always got that, similar to Solo Sikoa, where they're just natural heels, should never be faces. But at the same time, I can't disagree. She's not a great wrestler.
A lot of things Solo should never be, but anyway.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later on. But yeah, I still enjoy Nia Jax for all her faults. I think she is like doing the best work she's done all round. Whereas I can see at the same time. Obviously,
but this was crap. You agree, right?
It wasn't great. The second half it picked up. There was a good spot on the outside where she is that bit of danger and reckless. Where she picked powerbomb on the steps and then swung it into the barricade just to let her go. Stuff like that. The stuff like that. And I did like the cash-in stuff. I'm into that, even though they do drag it out. It's a Triple H trope.
They do that too much. Like I cringe. They do it way more than they do cash-ins now, don't they? Like the fake cash-in,
the fake stuff. But and I know Tony Khan gets stick for his titles and his tournaments. I mean, Triple H, if you're a tag team or a stable, there's just dissension all over the place. That's his trope and his go-to for everybody. And with stuff
but
like
it will
this,
work, won't it? There'll be a gigantic pop the day it happens.
This is it. And Tiffany is great in the role. She's great on SmackDown, where she slipped and called Bailey Pam, which I was howling Benno at that. I don't know why. I'm just absolutely fucking howling at that.
I think Pam might be the title. All caps.
But I did like
the mixtape coming one day.
Oh, that happened one day. But I did like the way, like, she was going to give the referee the briefcase, and Nia Jax done like an Undertaker and just sat up and caught her red-handed. Then they did play it into even the finish, though. I think Bailey was meant to throw the briefcase back at Tiffy, and it just missed it. It was a lot off. It wasn't a great match, Ben. It improved in the second half, but that first half was rotten. It was rough.
They had us in the first half, as the meme says. 1.5 stars. I give it, Matty.
that's 2 stars, man. 2 stars for the cash-in. I enjoyed that, so I give it 2 stars.
Yeah, Tiffany GRAPPL listener confirmed. Absolutely. Can they get along to EXE? Pretty much. That's our trips. But yeah, that was followed up by more middle and mid card action, Matty. As this was the match I didn't like on the pay-per-view, and I feel I was right in that call. You can tell me if you disagree. This was Damian Priest and Finley Balor, or FXXXXXX Balor with his gimp mask. Don't think it belonged on the card, mate. I watched the product, and I don't think this feud has, been where it should be to be a pay-per-view match, especially when there's only 5 slots available. I stand by my call that I'd have done Walter Gunther. That'd be a great match. Gunther, Sammy in this spot. Be a big lad versus a little lad, wouldn't it? Brilliant. Pick which one's which. But yeah, like I would have put that on this card. I think this card was lacking a big match in the middle. And this was the best example of that. Like, it wasn't bad, it was just fine, but I just didn't really care at the end of it, Matty. And I don't really get from like the audience. Yeah, people are into Damian Priest right now and all of the nonsense around that stable, but I feel like it's maybe past its peak at this point.
I disagree. I think it should have been on the card. Like, it has been, obviously, it has been built since SummerSlam, the Bad Blood tie-in of the nature of the feud and stuff like that. So I get why it was on there, and it should have been for me. The only thing I don't like about this, to be fair, is that Priest went over, because I just think, well, it is done now. Like, I would have had Finn Balor actually win this with more shenanigans, drag the feud on, because if they're going to feud anyway, I don't see the logic with Priest just overcoming the odds and winning. I would have give Balor a win, continue that heat, and then he gets his win back at Survivor Series or Crown Jewel or whatever you're going to drag it onto. So that's what I kind of disagree. The match itself, yeah, I kind of agree with you. I expected a bit more. You know what I mean? Like, Finn Balor was probably the best he's been in a while for me. Like, he was a bit more athletic than usual. They were putting the work in, Ben, to a degree, but yeah, there was just something missing from it. I expected more shenanigans as well. As I say, it was just easy the way he overcome them and stuff like that. So maybe that was a bit lacking, just a little bit off, but it wasn't bad by any means. Like you say, it was just a fine match. I was just expecting a little bit more from it, to be fair.
Anytime I see Carlito, I'm just like, what is he doing here? Like, it's like,
it's weird. He's wangled his way in. Like
him and Triple H, like, were the best. No, because it was like in his original run, he was slagging Triple H off, like in the dirt sheets and stuff. Like, did that bomb them or something? Like, it's so weird that he's giving him this work legitimately 20 years after he was all right as an undercard guy, you know what I mean? He's not offered anything, has he?
That's it. The only thing is, where we disagree on Stables, I get it that he's a body that you can always choke slam and pin and stuff like that on Raws and get beatdowns and stuff. He's there literally for that, isn't he? He doesn't offer anything else at all. So, yeah, it's just weird. But yeah, slightly disappointed. But I just hope that I'll be good. I imagine they're going to continue this feud on. And for me, like I said before, I would have had the heel go over to drag it on to get more heat behind it.
I had no expectations, and they hit those no expectations 2.5 because they were functionally, technically, it was fine. It just wasn't very interesting.
Maybe 3, Ben. Yeah. Maybe a bit more generous for me. Maybe the 3 stars, but yeah, it did disappoint me.
There we go. Well, after this was where we've been teased all night, Matty. We were getting a gigantic announcements from Paul Triple H Levesque, executive producer extraordinaire. I honestly didn't have a guess going into what the announcement was going to be, and then I started to see reports of it's something to do with Saudi. And yes, segmented 2 halves for me, in revealing that gigantic belt that JP had as his background on the previous show. We'll start there, but before we go into the angle element of it afterwards in a bit. Any interest in that? Them doing a champion versus champion? I think in principle, I think it's a good idea, but it just feels a bit. We've been burnt by this by WWE, you know, Survivor Series, bragging rights, or whatever those shows were called in the mid-2010s, and other things, but. It's in Crown Jewel, so the stakes never really feel like they're there when they do it.
That's exactly it, Ben. There's no...
Feels like it's going to be a house show match, doesn't it?
It's going to be awful. Zero interest in this. Like, it's put me off the next pay-per-view. Like, I'm not interested in it at all because
Braun doesn't mean... Shane had the best in the world trophy. That was all stuff.
It's obviously made for the Saudi show. They want like a staple, like, you know, their own like thing belts, like as you say with the Braun and Shane in the past. So from that side, but as a fan, I honestly got zero interest in it. You're wasting, I think we'll agree on this, you're wasting Cody and Gunther, really. It should be for one belt that when it eventually does happen. It's meaningless to me. I'm not a fan of these titles at all. Like, so really put off the next event.
This pattern as well for me of like, we disagree, this Cody title run, where it's like, you know, I understand you couldn't have done Cody Punk because they're both in different universes doing different things. You couldn't do Cody Gunther because now Gunther's the world champion. And I guess this is a way to do that match, but I'll say what I always say, you book all of this. So those pieces could be in different places if you planned it out. And I think Cody has had a lackluster run as far as people he's defended his title against, or for us to actually get the Gunther match. And it's this no stakes bollocks.
Yeah. Like, no stakes, right? Yeah, it's
he might even drop to him. I could see that happening because you don't want Triple H pretty much outright said there'll be a winner and a loser, which I guess was a way of making it sound like there might be some stakes here and there won't be any bullshit. Again, don't trust them. But if that ends up true, then unless something with the fellow we're about to talk about gets involved, I think Cody probably loses that to Gunther. I think that's probably what I'd book if it was my AWR game, because you could make the argument Gunther's this unbeatable monster and Cody's, you know, sympathy is a big part of his character, so you can have a loss like that. But it does book you into a corner, doesn't it?
I was about to say, it's your shout. You're the one booking this, aren't you? So yeah, he's got big decisions to make. But either way, Ben, honestly, keep saying it. I'm just no interest at all in it. At all, though. It's so bad. And even for the women, it's going to be Nia Jax against Liv Morgan as we're standing. I mean, what's that match going to look like?
Yeah, they didn't tease that here, did they? Fucking hell.
No, they didn't.
Oh.
So, like, it's terrible. It's a terrible
one thing
idea.
I was glad of.
Every year as well. Every year.
I was glad that I thought the crowd booing the mention of Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia was great stuff, and Triple H had to talk over it. Very much enjoyed that. Gave me a little bit of faith back in WWE crowd, so they got the heat that it deserved. Chris Elliott says, "Yeah, does Sammy win the belt tomorrow?" And you have him and Cody at Crown Jewel. And Gunther Goldberg semi-main. I mean, I'd take it. And that was my thing going into this. I think I threw the tweet out. I was just like, why are we doing this when we could have just done Gunther and Sammy on this show in this time instead? Changed my tune a little bit by the second half of this. So I did enjoy Gunther's getting better on the mic. He's not, he is who he is.
More confident, isn't he? He's very more confident now.
Yeah, and he plays that shit heel, but I can back it up character very well. And you can tell the crowd chanting Goldberg. I think he was probably going to run down a few more of the people front row. I would have enjoyed that. Say something to X-Pac about his exploding arsehole or whatever it is that that problem. I remember when he did the
X-Pac. A chance he was Scott Steiner though, Ben, would he?
That's a match I'd watch too, to be fair. Yeah. But clearly the crowd chanting Goldberg, mate, he then just went straight for Bill, didn't he? Yeah. Bill and Gage Goldberg sat there, who's now like 45. Long gone is the young man who used to just pop a stop off at a moment's notice instead. He's there being like Bill's translator, because I don't think Bill could hear everything that Gunther was saying. And he was whispering it into his ear. And it was all a bit daft. But then the second Bill finally stood up, and that reaction, I just went, yep, want to see that now. Let's do it. I believe in Gunther. Like, you tell me, and I know we're dealing with a different act at this point, but if you'd have told me 5 years ago Walter versus Goldberg was a possibility, I would snap your fucking fingers off. And I honestly think short match, couple of big guys going at each other. Yes, Goldberg will fuck something up, because he kind of has pretty much every
that's what we want to see, don't we?
But then put Gunther over. Hopefully that will be the outcome, obviously, rather than what has previously happened with Goldberg.
Wouldn't
I think you could do it. Am I mad? I honestly think you could do it, and you could sell it like one more Daft Goldberg match, as long as it isn't to fuck and isn't longer than a few minutes. 3 minutes, as Gunther said. I've got 3 minutes for you as one of his lines.
Yeah. But it's Goldberg, and he wants that retirement match, doesn't he? He really does. And it just seemed weird at the end of the segment, like Triple H and Goldberg together, hand in hand in the air.
I felt like an audible call, didn't it? Because Sammy ran out, and the focus is supposed to be on Sammy and Gunther for Raw to build that up.
Yeah.
Like, you can tell Triple H was get the camera back on me, and held Goldberg's hand up. Maybe, honestly, like, the way he described it, the presser was like, Bill wasn't, Bill
he's open to
a different man at the start of the show, and at the end of the show, had that fire in his eyes. Like, it was almost like a public, like, come on, Bill, come on, mate, one more Saudi show, you can do it.
But now, I mean, Sami Zayn had no chance in hell of winning on Raw tomorrow night. But if Bill's got that fire, as you say, and Triple H is making the cut, who knows? Who knows what could happen? Probably not.
Wouldn't be on Raw if it was happening. But,
yeah. There you go. But we want to see Bill in there one more time. We all do, don't we? Let's be honest.
Yeah, they got us in the second half on that one. But yeah, we went from there. Speaking of this mid card, into Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. The fuck was this, Matt? I was confident on the preview show that they would, like they did at the last one, and like they have pretty much every time there's been one of these Dominic Mysterio adjacent matches, it'll be agents to fuck, and they make it work. I mean, they had Dominic up in the shark cage, got a bit of a laugh out of me as he went up. He then spent pretty much the entire match picking that lock. I did genuinely like that. My stomach dropped when he fell out of the.
Mate, no, cage. That was terrifying.
Like, okay, he's holding on to something. He's like clearly attached in. So still not good though. Like dangling with one leg wasn't good. And then, like, I think we have to start with the finish and how fucked up that was. And it was clearly a fuck up. So you have Dominic, like, hanging from the cage. What on earth was... Whose idea was it that Rhea just goes to the ref and go, you all right if I go beat him up for a bit? And he goes, yeah, sound, go on. That was fucking weird.
Ref cam, really?
Using the ref
cam again? Yeah.
For that moment. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah. And then somebody fucked up. I think either Rhea was supposed to be back in the ring.
The ref, was it?
After the ref came out. I think what it was, looking at like the body language of everybody, I think Raquel was just airy. And I think it was the ref was supposed to be drawn to Rhea going after Dominic. And they were doing it behind
their back.
Behind him. Because he kind of just like, he just glitched. He just turned around and started like looking the other way. And then like, it's proper AEW stuff. I mean, this happens on Collision every week. Bryce Ramsberg does it pretty much every fucking match. But like, he just had to pretend he didn't see what was going on until clearly somebody in the truck called an audible and called for the DQ. Yeah. And then even then, Raquel Rodriguez didn't show the instincts to just go, okay, fair enough. The match
put it on top, didn't she?
Like, she put it on top, which made it all even worse. Complete fucking mess in the end. And I don't.
You could see her face as well. She was hating it. She was gutted and hating it, and like, yeah,
she knew
it was awful. It was a train wreck. But even the match itself, Benno, it wasn't. It was just leg work, wasn't it? Like, and I know it was. I just didn't know it down as that match. You know what I mean? I know Rhea, that's the story they told on TV. Don't get me wrong, but it felt like it dragged on for ages as well, where it didn't need to be. It was just on for too long. And another one where I was let down by this for sure. I thought he would be, as I say, enjoyed Dominic with his the camera cutting to him, but I just thought there'd be more from him as well. I was just let down again for sure with these two Judgment Day matches. Definitely.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. And like I say, it wasn't until that point. It wasn't great either. So, yeah, rare miss for the Dominic Mysterio-verse.
Yeah.
And again, is Raquel any good? I don't even know. Like, is she? Like,
she's okay. Like, what I remember, she was okay. But no, maybe there's the history with Liv and stuff like that. As I think Cody said, they were tag champions and stuff. So it plays into that. I think maybe Rhea put Raquel out, didn't she, as well, playing into that. So there's that going for it. But yeah, she, as you say, she didn't show the instincts there, did she, for with that fuck up? So yeah, we'll see where it goes. I'm not excited by it though. I'm not excited by that. It going forward the story.
Andy nails something here that Dom's best on the outside causing shit. So yeah, sitting in the shark cage doing nothing. That was exactly my thought, because like I'd said on the preview, oh, I'd love for like a camera to just be on Dominic. It would just been him sat in the corner the entire match, because he can't get involved, like literally as a shoot. Yeah, wasn't good stuff. So yeah, that was there. What, star and a half again? Not a great night for the women's division.
Yeah, I'd go lower than the 2 stars. At least I had the cash in. What I said earlier about Nia and Bailey with this. Yeah, 175, Ben. It was a letdown. It really was, because as I say, I was so complimentary. Love Rhea Ripley, always have done. Liv Morgan wasn't big on her before the heel turn. I think she's been brilliant in the role since. But as you say, you got to be in there with the matches, and it was a letdown. It was a letdown.
Well, from there, I don't know about you, Matty, but my pay-per-view feed just showed a replay of the opener here. It just came up on screen saying this was supposed to be the main event, and Punk and Drew had their match again. Did it do the same for you? Or
oh no! If you get a bit of traction, I'll say it. I'll say it loud and proud, Benno. The big man is back in town, mate, and I can't wait to talk about him. Let's go.
Oh, we need to talk about this main event.
Oh, we do. Yeah. Oh, we do. Oh, we do.
We need to start
with the entrances first. Can we talk about the entrances
first? We do need
to
start with the entrances, because this was so bad. This was so bad. Like, this fucking Solo and Jacob come out, and I said it on this. You're not the same as me, Matty. As Solo comes out and Jacob stood behind them, by design or not, who you're looking at? You're looking at Jacob at all moments, aren't you? Like, he was fucking. Oh, yeah. He just bursts off the screen, doesn't he? Even in entrance. Very much enjoyed that as the chat gets excited for story time here. So that was a standard entrance from them too. Into this fucking high school band. like was it me, or did it take like 30 seconds to go? Is that Kingdom? Is that Cody Rhodes' song? They were so bad. They were so bad. Oh, it was awful.
But Benno, at first, honestly, when they played it, I was thinking, is this Roman or Cody? Because I was thinking, well, Roman is going to come out last. But at that first point, like you said, I thought, are these putting this Roman? Then I thought, no, this can only be Cody Rhodes. And I was made up then. I thought, you
were happy I said that. I was like, oh, this is just a win for Matty here. Fucking Macho mate. King Cody Rhodes here coming out. Macho Man King Cody Rhodes coming out first here as Roman Belair gets the second entrance. You could see it. It was funny that they played Cody's song, and it was like clearly at the start again. As well. Oh, it's not ready. Right, so shit. It just made it even worse, because I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, Cody's coming out first. Yeah, like I'd love to have been in the room when the conversation happens. Like, we've got to give Roman, got to make Roman strong, got to let him come out last year. Maybe it's a meta weight, Matty, and Cody just knows, it'll wind up the likes of me, and it gives a little bit of a real edge to this feud. Or Roman just pulled rank. I don't know. It's his big comeback match, But
Roman will pull rank and always will. And I'll keep saying this, but then at the end of the day, you will have the last laugh. That's why I'm running with this, because at WrestleMania, I'm going on record now. The match will be Cody and Rock. Roman won't be anywhere near Rock at this one for me. So I'm going on record and saying that. So I'm enjoying this while I can, Benno.
That's the time to do it.
I agree, Benno. I want that, and I want it. Touch wood, I get tickets when I go and say, I want to see this.
Like Cody night one, Roman night two, or the other way around. You know,
triple threat's been mentioned, which is a cop out for me. It's a big, it's a big cop out. So I want to. If I'm there in person, I want to be there for Rock and Roman Reigns. I'll obviously like Cody and Rock. I'll be fully behind Dwayne, but it's like I'm gonna enjoy this until then, because for me, that's gonna be your main event. And here, Benno, come on. He was always going to come out last, and I did have a big fucking smile on your face.
Cody got one of the worst musical interpretations of an entrance of all time, and it wasn't like Roman's was amazing, but it was like 10 levels.
It fits Roman's comeback.
I mean, it didn't sound like they were actually playing, but you know, it's still it still worked a lot.
Can we just say as well, as soon as he come out, how well does he fucking look, Ben? He's got into some fucking nick. He looked great at WrestleMania, and then he looked even better now. He fucking looks so
slim
good.
Down,
and
he? Proper
he has slimmed down, but still cut, isn't he? He's still cut. Like it's just good to see him back, Ben. I know, like we have jokes of Roman and all that, but I'm honestly, I've got it already. Like I can't help it. I'm so glad he's back, and we've got him now until at least Survivor Series every week. So I'm making the most of it while I can, because and even the start, Ben, of the match, like when they were both just standing in the ring and playing the old who's gonna. I can just talk for hours, but I'm so happy.
Let me just agree with you first. He did look amazing. He does look like he's clearly slimmed down. This was the best Roman's. I think his projection and how just his demeanor is probably the word I'm looking for, was the best it's been since the comeback, because I've not been fully convinced in some of the segments. And this was like, he had that cockiness of the bloodline Roman and wasn't leaning as much into, I'm a babyface now, so I've got to be honest, he was just overly stoic in those SmackDown appearances in the past while. This was where he was more smirking Roman and cocky Roman and kind of the Roman that people loved as a heel, and he looked at it from the second coming out. Absolutely.
If we're watching the show, as he said on the promo, some things change, but not me. That's what he said. He said he hasn't changed, but he was subtle with his, like, you don't see him tagging the fans when he comes out, and I like that side of it. But when, like, later on in the match, without jumping to Ed, when it was time for the spear and stuff, which he's still done as a heel, he still hyped the fans up. He was getting right into it. So he has his little moments playing it, but he is still the same character essentially. But he has got to lean slightly in towards it. But at the start with the tag and stuff, Ben, I love that they both looking at each other, and it was like Cody was basically saying, "I'm gonna start," and he was like, "I agreed to tag with you, but I didn't agree with you starting the match." But then he let him start the match. I loved the little
before the match about the entrances.
But
that was the only real needle, wasn't it? Like, I thought they'd play it up through the match, like the can they get along type stuff. They mostly just got along after that. That was
but I liked it. I liked that because it wasn't the same shit you'd always get of, like, I thought we might get I was thinking, are they gonna, like, he's gonna spear him by mistake, Superman punch him. But I liked the fact that they actually stuck to the word, and even by, like, accident they didn't lean. I liked that side of it for once. It was different in that aspect, and that played into later on after the match, didn't it? Which we'll talk about, which I can't wait to talk about the aftermatch as well. But you're right. But and it was, and don't get me wrong, if you're not into this storyline, if you're not into these wrestlers, the first 15 minutes is probably, I can see the Pelters coming, not much happened. You got Jacob at the start with a little bit with Cody, and it was a bit, it's the slow, methodical, but I think it was here because you've got two over baby faces, and dare I say, two over heels, which, whatever you want to say about Solo Sikoa, he is one of the most hated wrestlers. It could be for the shoot. He got the you can't wrestle chance, but he is hated that much where you could do a slower type match at the start, which it was, like these bloodlines usually are as well. So, yeah.
Come on, mate. It's fucking rubbish for the first half.
It wasn't. I'm into it, though.
It wasn't even late. Well, it was late, but it wasn't even as late as it normally. Like, this pay-per-view did drag on, like, and ended up being way longer than it needed to be for a 5-match card. But I was, honestly, it was making me sleepy the first half of this match.
Was you waiting for the end? Was you just waiting for the end?
Yeah, it was like Bloodline rules matches. It was just paint by numbers, tag in and out, really boring house show heat stuff. Even Jacob wasn't amazing, to be honest. It was just
They're still
talk about not
protecting him,
wanting to
though, aren't they,
reinvent,
in a
not
way?
want to do this.
It's
You
hard.
say don't want to do the same old shit with Roman and Cody. This was same old shit. Like, at least it'll all be forgotten by what comes afterwards. It is a match of 2 halves again. We will talk about the second half, but it was really boring. I thought that first half, and there isn't really much a note to kind of to break down with it.
There isn't until because you're always going to get, once again, Gareth's rubbing off on me. You're always going to get the 2 hot tags because they both had to, like, they had the one to Cody early on, and then obviously you're building up to the big hot tag, the proper hot tag. Then we're
Cody doing the. I mean, again, that's just wrestling, and it's like somebody. If you're gonna do a generic tag match, somebody's got to take the heat. It wasn't gonna be Roman. It was gonna again. I don't know. It's fucking music to your ears, but character-wise, Cody makes sense to be the.
And to be fair,
as the one in the wild heart who was taking the heat for Dylan Roberts, I understand the role that Cody needed to play.
And Cody would probably be better at that. There you go. There's a little dub for yourself there.
There you go. Still a world champion, so it is an issue, but
yeah, it is bad. But
go on, Matt, take it away.
Yeah, and then after we get into the second hot tag, that's where it kind of picks up, and you get Roman clearing out, and then you get the spots on the outside, don't you? Which I did like with Cody and Jacob Fatu, because they're still in that. Love Jacob Fatu, think he's fucking amazing. But once again, with Triple H, it's still that slow burn. It's like you're putting him in these tag matches and you're trying to protect them as much as you can. He has got to take stuff, though, Ben, eventually, hasn't he? And I think Meltzer was saying, I don't know where I've seen it today. It must have been on one of the reels or something. I think it was Meltzer saying, like, they're trying to keep him and Jacob away from each other. And they didn't really interact as much, did they, in this match? And they don't want to show...
Matches. Roman and Jacob and Cody and Jacob are both big matches for different reasons. I think the Cody one, you can afford to have a bit more interaction because it's going to be the monster. Can Cody vanquish him after he's bumped him a few times and done a few things with him? Whereas Roman, it is more keep them apart, isn't it? It's more keep it special for when it comes. Way more special than Jacob, who's not Jacob, sorry, Solo, who is clearly there now to take the bumps and take the pins.
You know what?
And Jacob's the one on the other side.
I'm going into Solo in a minute, but back to the match there, even on the outside where he went through the barricade, no shoulder, he took the crossroads on the floor, no shoulder, and then I did love the fact of, like, that's how he debuted, Jacob putting the splash through Cody, so Cody tipping the hat to Roman on the way down, done that to take him out. I love that aspect of the story there, that, like, I'm doing what you done to me. Love that from Cody. There's another bit of praise for him.
As well, like, I love that he went to the top of the post, like, and did it from there. Great. I was hoping for the Wardlow moonsault, but I'll take a splash instead. I guess we've got to keep Cody in one piece. That was a great moment, though. It really was. That woke me up. That was the moment where I was like, all right, we're back. Let's go.
And that was it. And then you had obviously Roman and Solo left in the ring. And I think you're going to twist. I'm not saying Solo's amazing, Ben. I just think he gets far too much pelters. Do you know what I mean? I think he just gets it a bit too much. You can say, that's fair enough. You say it every week.
Is it wrestling matches, promos, acting, or wearing a suit?
I don't think he's the worst on the mic, Benno, because he's getting the heat, isn't he? He's getting genuine fucking hatred reaction. The character's working.
That's heat, like you said it yourself, you know.
Yeah, from this crowd who was a bit more smart, but on SmackDowns and such, he's getting the heat that you'd want from a top heel.
Answer me this: we're gonna go to a love in a minute. What is Solo Sikoa? We said about Drew and Punk. What's next for them? What does Solo Sikoa do the day the Bloodline story ends that will be of any interest to anybody?
Oh, I don't know, Ben. As you say, but that's all he's ever known. It's this storyline, isn't it? No, that's the only storyline he's ever known, isn't it? Really, this and I mean, I don't know. And down the line, who knows, Benno? Who knows? But
who knows?
For the time being,
I know he's not doing any improvement.
He's only 29 and he's 30. He's only young and he's Solo.
He's in there with all these. Is that how old he is? I thought he was younger. That makes it worse. Like, but he's in there with all these top stars. You would like to think it would rub off on him and he show something. I just don't. Yeah, I'm not seeing it really, and I think they've clearly changed their mind on it. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, no, I do. I think he is gonna. You are gonna get the big matches, don't you? The match you're dreading is Solo and Roman. That is coming. That could be.
You've got to do it. I agree.
Yeah, you've got to do that. You've got to. Yeah. But I think at the same time, now I don't know whether this is a praise for him, for someone who is beaten down so much, and he was in the lead up to WrestleMania this year, which I was fuming at the time.
Which is a wild decision, like, to do that,
he's still
and then rely on him so much.
over. That's what I mean. So I don't know whether that's testament to him or the fact, or well, yeah, but he he is a major part of it though, Benno. At the same time,
I know that's the problem.
Whether you don't, I don't think it is because it's still getting but it's still getting the heat, isn't it? If people were turning away from it and people weren't believing it is, but I get it that he's not the greatest wrestler. Of course, I get that, but I just think at the same time,
Chat asking for Manu here. Can we get Manu instead?
No, he's not that bad. Come on, fucking hell. Give him a bit of credit.
What do we say? 38 maybe at this point?
Yeah, 38. But I think he retains his overness considering how much fucking time he gets jobbed out.
The Jesse Lingard of wrestling, Rian calls him. Send it back down to NXT.
But anyway, let's get back to the match. It was Roman and Solo left in the ring. And then we get the Tongans making the run in.
Speaking of
Solo, we get the lads were all right on SmackDown, Ben. Good solid title defense in the ladder match.
It feels like Tangaloa is just made up with himself anytime he doesn't fuck something up. Like he's just constantly on edge.
But he's standing on the top of the ladder, actually holding the thing. It was a bit fucking risky for him to do that, like. But yeah, they come out and then Solo hits the spear on Roman for a good near fall, and then just as he's about to set up for the Samoan spike. There's a bit of fucking, it's coming, Ben. It's coming. There's a bit of commotion on the outside. The Tongans are staring. There's another guy in a bandana and a hoodie behind him. And who is it? But the return of Jimmy himself, Jimmy Uso, is back. Monster pop, Benno. Come on. I mean, we're talking fucking big time pops here, mate. Almost as big as the one Dwayne gets later on. Like, it was big time. It was big time.
I love the staging of it. I really did. Like, I love there's a man, like the commentary gave it away a little bit, but like there's a man here who's got a mask on and it's like, hang on, who's that? And I genuinely didn't know. I didn't go straight to Jimmy. I thought, is this going to be taller Tonga or is it really tell with the ratio, whether he was tall or not? Or is it going to be Rock even? I kind of half thought at first, then realised, Rock would be
Rock would do that. Get his music, Rock, come on, Ben.
It was the stages they did it where he took the hoodie off. And you could tell from the body and the mask that clearly it was him. And it was probably the moment of his career, this when he pulls the bandana down, he pulls that face at Solo. That was really well done. It was. I've got to give you that.
Great stuff. Great stuff. And then obviously Solo's distracted, turns around. The lads in it. But and then spear by Roman Reigns.
You're crying.
Mate. I wasn't then. I was just happy. I was absolutely happy. The tears come then, Benno, after the 1, 2, 3, a Roman Reigns, and Roman's selling still. And then he's out on his knees, he turns around and he sees Jimmy. And it's just that fucking look Roman gave him. It's like, are you here for me kind of thing? He looks at him, he gets up. And of course, Jimmy's a loyal soldier to the end, isn't he? Loyal soldier to the end. Comes in. Never turned. Oh, well, he did turn it else with his brother, but this part of the story, Ben. This is all part of it. But he was a loyalist. He was a loyalist more than Jay, obviously. And then he gives him the big hug, and we get a big pop. And Ben, that's where I was. I was like, we're fucking back now. Now we can get on board. That was emotional. What's it going to be like when they have to track Jay down? Oh my God, Ben, I'm telling you, it's going to be fucking
They
emotional.
Not the ones. Is that what it says?
They are the ones. Yeah, they not the ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you a moment.
It's just a moment thing. Then these are all the moments that are always going to get. I know what you're going to say. The bell's going to ring.
Says in the chat he didn't realise he'd even been away. I wouldn't go that far.
Been away 6 months.
So what was so Jimmy was the loyal soldier with Solo and Heyman as the
in the end, because
despite having been the one before Jay who turned babyface.
Done it for Jay, but he done it for Jay, didn't he? No, we don't forget it. He done it for Jay, and then he realised that we're going into the lore here. Then he realised that Ulafala would corrupt Jay, so that's why he cost Jay at SummerSlam. It's wrestling, Benno. It's
not. Can we talk the opener again? That was wrestling.
We talk about. I'm just saying that we could go into. I'm not saying that's wrestling. I'm saying it's wrestling. There's other stories that have been way worse than this and way more cheesy than this. So that's what it was, and he cost him, and then he went back to him. He's a loyal soldier to the end, as you say. It was Solo that got rid of him because he lost at WrestleMania. So it all makes total sense. And it's just Roman's face, just seeing him that he's got someone. But Ben. It's also come now in the build to Survivor Series, mate. I cannot wait. Roman's on every SmackDown. They're going to have to go to Raw to get Jay one night. It's all coming. Heyman's turning heel, apparently, and siding with the Rock of it. Also, there's a lot to be going on there.
You subscribe to the Bloodline Weekly newsletter or something like that. Where do these skips come from?
Oh, man, I'll tell you. This is going to happen. I'm in me fucking wheelhouse. I'm in my element. I just honestly,
you
I fucking love it so much, and I cannot wait to see.
It was a well done moment. I'll even give Solo some credit. I think the way he kind of did the slow spin and then the run into the spear, it was a good spot. No, it looked good. Should they practice that at some point on a house show or something? No, wait, they don't do them anymore. But like, that was cool.
The big stars don't do house shows, Benno. You see, the one getting wheeled out every week that does the house shows. Fucking hell, mate. Let's get there. They're your real stars.
Your approach to podcasting summed up. But anyway.
But anyway, another great moment after it. Did camera turns after
what would you give the match? 2.5 star match, right?
I'm going 3.5. I'm going 3.5.
I'll go higher. I go to like 2 points. I go like 3. It was 3.5.
The second half was exciting, and you get the big pops, the big moments, all what it's about.
3 because of the second half. Cody's big dive, Jacob's kind of like zombie stuff at the end, and the finish. The finish was well done. First half dragged it way down though.
Yeah, as you say, that what even like, but I could get it for the 2 hot tags. So that was coming for me, Benno. Do you know what I mean? As much as these bloodline matches do tend to build and peak at the end, but as I say, at the end when we did have that hug, the camera pans out again. Who's sitting there slumped in the corner? Cody himself, the WWE Undisputed Champions down. And to be fair, he gets up and Roman, and he didn't over-egg it. No handshake, no fucking hug or nothing there. It was basically...
I'm surprised, actually, yeah.
I held up my end of the bargain, see you down the road, and we're going to have another shot. The lads leave, the OG Bloodline leave, Cody gets attacked from behind, and then it's Jimmy Uso, the voice of reason. Are we going to go and help him? I've got your back, OTC. Do what are we going to do it?
I'm with you, I think he said. I like that line.
I'm with you. You lead the way. And Roman was like, it was a one-time deal kind of thing. I'm not going to help him. They're looking like they're going to walk to the back. Jimmy again, but you sure? Both give the nod. Go back.
You're even not helping him. Why wouldn't he want to go and beat the knobheads up? Like, surely that's what the point was,
Yeah, but it's still saying that, like, he's still got them tribal chief instincts in him, Benno, that he could be a bit of a tit, and Jimmy had to kind of get him back in there. Clear the house again.
Jimmy was good.
Jimmy was really good in this. Clear house again, and this was the moment. Roman sees the belt on the floor, slowly picks it up. I did like it's story, Ben. It's story. Hands it to Cody Rhodes, which was a nice moment. I prefer that than a hug and a handshake. You're the champion now type thing. And just as Cody Rhodes lifts that title belt in the air, if your smell hits, Ben. Fucking, I was jumped out my seat. I jumped out my seat. I was so
I was
happy.
watching this, like, I had 1 beer left, and I was like, I'm going to save this beer for when Rock comes out. And I got to the point where I've gone, nah, he's not coming out. I'll have to. I think I said I'll have to save it for the Triple H presser, and then that music hit. It was just like it is. It's just like that was one of the loudest pops I've ever heard. And I'll give you credit. Yeah, the Jimmy pop was very loud too. And then he didn't do nothing, unfortunately.
No, I know. You know what?
Triple H was trying to defend that he won't even defend it. You could tell he was defensive of it on the presser, and you could tell Dwayne thought it because he came out. Reaction was unbelievable. He did the 3-2-1, didn't he? Which tell me story-wise, how you're supposed to interpret that. I think he was just counting his music.
I got a couple of ways. And then
the music played, and the boo started to it, and you could tell he stopped and looked back because he was like, "Okay, I'll try and keep something going instead." I think that was a mistake. I think they should have at least had him walk to the ring. Even Triple H fucking loved it. Was like the Punk thing. I don't know if you saw his interview with Ice Cube's fucking idiot son this week, where Punk said like there was a bit of confusion. He thought he was supposed to go to the cage, but they were telling him, "No, you stay there because that's where Triple H wants you." He loves that just entrance look and then leave. I would have given them the music changes, Rock walks up to the ring, and then end the show, and then you can do something for the live crowd, maybe
a cliffhanger
or something. Yeah. Instead, it was just there to stare and then leave. But tell me what chapter this is of the Bloodline.
I got 3 takes from this. The 1, 2, 3, either signal. At first, I thought what he said the night after WrestleMania. He pinned Cody Rhodes 1, 2, 3, so he's in line next at the shot. That's what I got. Then I thought, well, the 3 guys in the ring. 1, 2, 3, counting down, done the gunshot to the throat, as in like you've overstepped the mark now, Roman. You've teamed up with the enemy. That's coming for you next. And then I did like it in the fact as well, though, Ben. Like you're saying, it could have been a better cliffhanger, but I did like it that it was a cliffhanger. That he's still around, he's still watching, he's still seeing what's going on. So I took all that from it. I'm invested, Ben. I'm there, but I do get at the same time. It's the Rock there. You maybe want him to say something or do something a bit more, but I kind of got them from it as well. So I was happy to see him anyway. I was just happy that he's there to see him. And like,
It really
we
does
will
have
get him
some-
after Royal
it's like-
Rumble. It does.
It's easy to forget, like, just how much of a fucking jolt of energy he was to that WrestleMania period. Like, this whole final boss thing with his
Final
stupid,
boss is fucking
with his stupid
belt.
fucking belt.
It's fucking, it's the worst ever, but it works for him, doesn't it? It's so
that he
shit.
gifted to himself, like, via the widow Muhammad
Muhammad
Ali.
Ali.
What a fucking arsehole. But it's great. It's
Yeah.
great. And I really do want to see Rock and Roman and Rock and Cody like that. You've got to do both. You've got to go matches. There's so much like juice in both, and yeah. It will make this obviously this forthcoming period a lot more interesting. What's he gonna do? Is he gonna turn up on a SmackDown? Is he gonna be the man behind the evil bloodline, which is probably what a lot of people thought
He will be.
was coming out of
He
this.
will be.
I still would have done more. He did like a quick Instagram promo. I've included as some post show notes.
I watched
as well.
Last night straight away. I watched that. I know.
Yeah, it was funny. You know, he's fist bumping the security and stuff like that, isn't he? And he's having a go. He's like, "I love you,
Dusty Rhodes.
Dusty Rhodes.
On the truck.
I hate your son." It made me want to see more. It was, so I suppose it's its job, but I still think they could have gave a little bit more because, Rock chewing scenery in this new character is just awesome.
Oh, as you say, it's that visual, the Versace cut-off shirt, and that fucking shit belt, just his demeanor. But they could have done a bit more. I like the way it was obviously focusing on the ring, and even the new Bloodline lads in the crowd. You got a quick little snippet of that, and I watched that back loads because I'm looking at every little detail. You got like the Tongans, like basically saying, "Let's get out of here," and Jacob's kind of similar, but Solo's smiling. I noticed him smiling, so I'm thinking, there should have been another shot at them if that was what was going forward. As he's going to be revealed as the mastermind, surely behind it all. Or especially,
we need to find out.
Especially, what did he give Cody? Yeah, especially now after Roman teaming with Cody, he's got to go there. But yeah, Ben, I just cannot wait for the next few months, mate. But we get more after the show and after the air. Like we get another big angle, don't we? Which we're hopefully going to talk about.
Just on the Bloodline stuff, what you think Survivor Series is just as simple as old Bloodline v new Bloodline? Does Rock work that? Steph pitched that on the NWA podcast, and like I could see it now. Now that they brought him back now, especially he wouldn't have to do much, would he?
He could come in last, couldn't he? He could come in last, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And instead of bringing Tala Tonga up, you could do that.
But if you're gonna, I think Crown Jewel's going to be Roman Solo. You get, especially for you get that match out the way for the Ulafala, whatever you want to do with that. That's Crown Jewel screams it to me. And then you do have, it depends how you're going to go with the War Games though, Ben. If you're going 4-on-4, which you tend to not do, you do the Usos, Roman and Sammy against the 4 Bloodline that are there now. But if you're doing 5-on-5, you put Rock and Cody on them teams, don't you? So I just can't see the Rock working it unless it's a bit of a schmaz, like you say. But it is Survivor Series. He'll always tie that in for his own debut, won't he? So he'd always might have special. That's where he come back with Cena and stuff like that. So he might have that tie-in and the way he thinks. He loves all them like milestones, doesn't he? So, but there's a lot you can do, Ben. And then Saturday night's main event, I think we booked that. That's when you do Roman Cody at that, maybe. And then Roman's in the Rumble, apparently. Does he win the Rumble? There's just lots. I just can't wait, Ben. Fancy. It's got to happen. That War Games has got to happen. No, it can't be Judgment Day nonsense and all that. It's got to be Bloodline versus Bloodline.
I was a little bit relieved when it came to it because I was like, it seems like they might, maybe it was something real life going on with Jimmy and they were going to pivot away from it and just do maybe an all-star tag or something at Survivor Series instead. This is the match built. This story is built.
It's got to be.
And those moments when Sammy appears, like Rhea says here, on a SmackDown randomly, maybe a few weeks out, and Jay comes back into the fold. Just it's on the table.
It's emotional, Ben. It's fucking
Jay back in, obviously, and then at some point Jay will beat Cody the Rock and Roman in 3 nights in a row, followed by Solo beating them all. I'm sure all these things are definitely going to happen.
No, I do want to pull up the chat. Sorry, reading the chat. That is actually the Ulafala there over the belt on the shoulder. That side there. Yeah, he didn't realise it. Sorry.
No, so just bring that to London. Yeah, strange that.
I couldn't bring that to London. Couldn't have carried that round, but I didn't want to lose it, mate. Pride and place, mate. My wife bought me that. But yeah, I think, as you say there, it's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot happening, which that's wrestling, Ben. That's what we want. We want all this hype, this excitement, this like a fantasy book on ourselves, but it's basically gonna happen as well at the same time. So, but I'm just the only
over characters and stories, isn't there? I'll give you that.
There's a lot better, but the only negative again for me is, and especially with me being there, hopefully, I want to see Rock and Roman at WrestleMania. I don't want to see Rock and Cody as much, but I guess you've got to do it. I want that to happen now. Thanks, mate. Rock's not working 2 nights. Rock is not working them 2 nights for sure. So yeah, but we'll see. We'll see, Ben. We'll see. Even if it'll drag you along for the emotion as well. It will.
Before we get to the bit that didn't air on the paper, overall thoughts? Great.
Bookended well.
The opener, what's the end?
So well.
You don't
yeah.
get to see any of the middle of that show. I would say
unless you're not,
one of the best modern WWE matches of all time. That opener can't throw enough superlatives at it. Even with my harsh 4.5 star rating, brilliant stuff. Can't wait to maybe much more positive on it on Punk going forward in WWE. Interested in what Drew does next. That was great. And then to have this on the other half, it felt like watching a different company for moments in that opener, and then the second half and this main event was very much like watching this company. But if you'd invested, as you always say, Matty, in what they're doing, they gave you everything that you'd want in spades, plus Solo Sikoa, who nobody wants except for Matty.
But and I'm going to add to that: if you're not a week to week or you're not a diehard, 100% can see why you would skip the 3 in between. But Punk's got that name. Punk's got that and it was an all-time match, especially for the modern standards of Hell in a Cell, WWE in general. Go out your way to check that out if you haven't. And the main events, once again, more investment in that, but for big pops, big moments, big people coming back like The Rock and such, you've got to check that out as well. If you're not entertained or at least triggered by that, then I'll just say what's wrong with you. So yeah, fair play, but go out your way. Good book-ended show. You can skip the middle matches for sure.
Great to have Triple H in his 5-match pay-per-views. Yeah, again, if Sammy Gunther was in there, I think I'd be higher on this show. But I guess we're getting that on Raw, which again just takes the stakes out of it a little bit. I really think that was the right match for this show. But yeah, no other real notes on it apart from what happened post show. What a way to do an angle. For people
smart then for me. Smart.
Yeah, I mean I think it's gotten into further places because they did so Kevin Owens attacked Cody at the bus. I can't remember who was saying it, whether it was because I listened to Tom Martin today and I listened to a bit of John and Way. I can't give credit, but somebody said maybe this is a smart way of doing it because you'd have fucking loved it, Matty. But you know what WWE fans are like. Big moments 100%. Happen, big cheer. If Owens had turned on Cody on the show, probably wouldn't have been great for Cody with
2 weeks ago, Ben,
crowds are.
On SmackDown, when he was teasing to hit him with the belt from behind, the fans booed when he gave him it in his hands. They were going to cheer this turn. So it's the smartest thing they've ever done.
I think they cheered any turn is the answer, though, isn't it?
I don't know, Ben. 90, I don't even know that to be high. I think it's a moment, but you wouldn't have got no booze splattered in. It would have been a full-on big pop, like a Becky Lynch Charlotte, what we always go to.
It might have been a mix, maybe a mix, but mostly cheers. But I agree with the overall point that they avoided that awkwardness by doing it. And the other knock-on effect is every camera with a phone, every fan with a phone was filming this, weren't they? And
purely different angles.
I think it's gone around even more now because I literally can't escape it on the timeline. And it does again. It's a nice upper mid card for Cody to work with, but it splits him off for a little bit, doesn't it? At least in this.
But he's got comfort, a crown jewel. This is what I mean. So are you saving that for Survivor? Is that your Survivor Series match, world title match to go on when you've got the War Games and then you've got the Randy Orton dangling over that as well? So to be fair to Cody, and I'll give him credit.
It's a shame because when I was at Money in the Bank, I was camping outside Cody's bus, so I'd have seen this right in person, waiting for Cody to come.
He's juggling all these fucking angles and stories and such, and to be fair, they're doing the best and he's staying over. They just don't want to cross that threshold, which is why, like we said, they're doing it backstage. Same with Randy Orton. When Randy Orton hits him with the RKO, they've got to come up with a creative way to do that turn as well. So pressure's on Cody, Ben. And if anyone's going to fry on it, is this.
You'll be fine.
Pressure's on Cody. No, I don't mean that in a thing. It's just to stay this ultra babyface, and he's going to have the protection from Triple H, of course he is, but We'll see. By the time he gets to Mania, and Rock is going to get cheered over Cody at WrestleMania as well. So there's another hurdle he's got to overcome.
It's the fucking Rock.
No, I know, but I'm just saying. We'll see. We will see by the time we get to Mania.
What a just saying going on this podcast. That's the other the shoe to drop though. Yeah, at some point you will get that heel Cody run. Can't wait. I just don't see Sammy winning tomorrow. People are pitching that perspective. I guess it could happen, but I doubt it. But yeah, maybe Owens gets there's some involvement there. But yeah, any other thoughts on that, Matthew, or anything as a whole from the show?
No, as a show, just excited going forward with a lot of things. Like I say, Cody KO. He's got that Gunther match coming up, which is a bit cold for me, but it's still Cody and Gunther. But the title's just zero interest in that. That's proper cold. Punk interested to see him and Gunther go at Survivor Series. There's a lot coming. Seth, like I said, is going to be that Punk Mania match just to get all the Punk fans into a frenzy, hating that one. But interesting.
I wonder if he'll work more going forward because, like, he seems to want to. He wants to.
I wouldn't do him on Raw all the time. Raws. Maybe the Netflix.
But I wonder, maybe again. I feel like the conversation was that. All right, we'll give you some blood, Phil. Keep you happy. You can have some blood. And maybe now the Drew feud's over. All right, Phil, we can give you some matches on Raw, and he can do a Dominic Mysterio match on Raw.
He'll wrestle Ludwig Kaiser before he wrestles Gunther. There you go. There's one Raw match. He'll do that match for sure.
Guys. Maybe. But yeah, there we go. That's the show. Obviously, there was the post-show presser, which was as there's a Chicago Raw coming up. You could do something there with Philip as well. But yeah, we did have the post-show presser, unfortunately, where Triple H was asked such questions as your promotion as the momentum of a runaway train. Why are you so popular? Basically, was the gist of most of the questions he asked. But he was asked one good question, which was about the lack of African American talent on these PLEs, and the different stats people can pull about the last black wrestler to win a match being Lashley, I think, while Vince was booking, and it not happening. His answer was appalling. It was that whole I don't see race stuff. I don't think about that stuff. And it's like, fuck off. Like, Cody makes the best case for that. I don't know if you remember the quote where he was talking about when he got together with Brandy and she was like, well, if you don't see race, you don't see the problems that I have. You're just seeing it through your own kind of lens and perspective. And it's a line taken right out of like Vince McMahon. I think he said something similar on the Mr. McMahon Netflix documentary. Don't know who's fucking training up Triple H for these media appearances, but I don't know, the standard is low and he keeps going lower. Not a great night at the office for him, and it's not like he had a large volume of difficult questions to answer. And for me, I honestly felt it that like doing the thing with having Bianca, Jade, and Naomi as the hosts was maybe an answer to some of that criticism by having a lot of like the rappers and other celebrities there was a way of like answering that criticism. I think there's just much better. It's not something we've done on purpose, but I hear the criticism and going forward, stay tuned. It's simple as that. So that's all he had to say.
What I got from it was like he was trying to like come across well, but it just come out all wrong. For sure. Yeah. And as you say, he's the worst at these press conferences. Whenever he gets asked anything serious, he's just the worst ever at them, isn't he? And I just don't agree with these. It's old age added to these press conferences, Ben. Like, they're pointless for me. Like, they are. Like, they're
basically the same as the AW ones now, where you get a parade of people doing in-character stuff, which Liv did. And
Liv Morgan was doing, yeah.
Yeah, and then he comes out and it's like, oh yeah, everything you just saw was fake. Anyway, here's how we put the story together. And he's pretty like forthcoming, which is actually what I would want out of these things.
But if you mismatch in a way, if
you're him or you're Tony Khan, why do you do them? Like, I want to see him put on the stand and ask good questions, and they don't happen as often as I like. But if I'm him, like, it's just an ego trip, innit? He gets to go out there and talk about how this was again the biggest arena great in WWE history. So we made sure to get all those lines in. But then he just trips himself up with it. When a serious question is asked, then as Connor says there, he always gets tripped up when a real question gets asked. Like, he's not expecting it. Like, surely someone could brief him and go, okay, these are the things people have been saying. This has been a bit of a subject online. This is what you say if someone asks. Like, I can't believe that doesn't happen.
Cody is better at these press conferences, though, isn't he? He's better at answering.
He handled the Vince question.
Serious, yeah, that's what I mean. So, yeah, it's just awful.
other notes from the press, and obviously that was the big story coming out of it. And I wonder if more will come on it. And fair play to the media member who asked the question, because I think it will put the pressure on whether he wants to admit it or not. I think it's something we will need to consider going forward. Like there is, clearly an unconscious, if you want to be charitable, issue there, and conscious if you don't. He talked about running the Sphere. You'd love that. Maybe while they're in Vegas, you could go back, drop $5,000 and go
80 grand to get in. Yeah, fuck that.
It's probably not happening, is it? I was watching. Well, we're gonna talk some other news and stuff in a minute, but like while we were watching, I was watching. What was it? Oh, it came up on my YouTube. Have you seen that WWE Vault YouTube channel?
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Put something up there from the Nitro Grill.
I watched it.
I was watching it going, oh, that's I've walked right past it. I know exactly where that is. It's got like Nash and Sting. He was got
Bischoff,
like a Crow Sting hat on, and he's got a Surfer Sting jacket on. It's the weirdest fucking thing. But I was watching it going, oh, Matty's got to go there now when he goes to Vegas, the Excalibur. But yeah, Bischoff with his grey hair, load of jobbers in town. What would have killed?
Ray Lloyd was getting asked. Yeah, she was getting all the fucking autographs away.
What was the up and coming tag team that me and Gene put over? Oh, what a time and place! And what was funny about it was like all the wrestlers turned up because it was Vegas. So like I bet WCW have had like 100 like publicity events that year, and Nash has gone nah. Vegas
Nash was loving it.
Sound be there.
Yeah,
oh, he fucking
look well. That suit, that long suit he had on. With
hair looking good, But I'm loving that channel. Well. It is. If you're not following it, like it's just that's where they've been putting they put like a Crockett show on there on Saturday, didn't they? And they've been like,
but like wrestlers will have that Punk done like I can't remember who's tag team partner when he worked the dark match with the Legion of Doom. Punk introduced that. Like Carlito's got one on there today.
Was that channel? I didn't realize.
In Puerto Rico. Yeah, so there's all like the wrestlers that introduce matches. And is that like, I mean, I still don't know what's going to go on with the network. Is that like basically going to be the new network, but we're not getting access to everything in the past? Is it going on Netflix? I want to know this because I'm going to be good.
A bit like when it went on Peacock, and like the Peacock, like the infrastructure of that wasn't built for the network, so you ended up with like season 4 episode 3 of WrestleMania and things like that. It's like it becomes that, but apparently this pay-per-view was on Netflix in a couple of markets, so I'm sure that'll all follow.
But they're doing stuff like that, like obviously with it being Bad Blood and Hell in a Cell, that WWE Vault channel put about like 20 Hell in a Cell matches up in full and stuff, so hopefully they can get more stuff on there. But it's a really good channel. Subscribe to that, and they put a lot of their hidden stuff on there as well. So
Vegas tickets they go on sale. It's coming up, isn't it?
25th of October, mate. Steph's on the pre-order the 23rd, so fingers crossed, Ben. We're all done then. When we get them tickets, everything's boxed off, so I just need that to be sorted, mate, for sure.
Well, on that note, we should talk some other news and notes going on around the wrestling world. First up, we do have a news note on the WWE front, the Mr. McMahon Netflix documentary series. Have you watched that, actually? Actually, we're asking before we get into it.
I've only...
have you had a chance to watch it yet?
I've only watched the first 4 episodes. I've got the last 2 to do, so I'll probably finish them off this week.
I've got a running conspiracy theory. That's all anyone's going to watch. I said it to JP, and Gareth kind of backed me up on this in our group chat last night. He was saying he was watching it with Sarah, and she just got bored halfway through and was just like, "This is just a WWE documentary. Watch it on your own." People aren't going to get to the final episode because it's like the Attitude Era and the Streak and ruthless aggression, which is not a real thing. All of that.
Like that's the biggest thing. Like you're watching it for like whether it's fortunately or unfortunately, like the stuff that's been reported. Whereas when you're watching this, it is just basically a history. I know it all. I know all this. I get it for the people on Netflix who haven't seen it, but as you say, they're not going to make it through, are they?
No. Why would you care about doing these storylines? Like you're there to watch the story.
Yeah, of course, 100%, and then the last 2 episodes, I imagine, are going to be more about that. Whereas I've ended there. Yeah, it's like the Shane one coming up. I've heard people say about the Shane McMahon episode and stuff. So I will finish it, but it's when.
Yeah, and the last episode kind of talks Benoit and then gets into the modern stuff with 45 minutes to go. But it is pretty well done. So yeah, the more meaty episodes, the ones you're up to, have been great. But yeah, the reason I bring it up, Martha Hart has come out and released a statement about the series, saying that she was never asked to appear on the documentary or be involved, and that the series portrays the death of Owen Hart as a mere accident. Also shows she calls him the disgraced former owner and CEO of WWE. Nice one. To claim Owen's death wasn't our fault. Nothing was further from the truth. Real truth is that our desire to cut costs and achieve a quick release effect, WWE hired unqualified riggers to arrange a stunt in which Owen, obviously, subsequently died. She gives a bit more detail on it there, but yeah, that is the story. Like, that is absolutely what happened, and they don't tell any of that in the documentary. I thought she was a gigantic missing part of the puzzle on that, because again, if you're watching this as somebody who doesn't know, you're just going to take on face value the propaganda.
What you're getting,
that, absolutely. Sure. So yeah, good that she's come out and said something, but yeah, a real issue there. Yeah, Simon says 3, 4, and 5 are just history WWE stuff, and yeah, obviously, you watched that first episode, and yeah, the first and last episode are probably the most interesting ones as far as Vince. The rest of it is just a bit of an oral history of WWE, which is right for the Martha Hart side to bring up. All the WWE stuff, obviously no point talking SmackDown at this late point, Matty. Main event we kind of alluded to before. There was a tease though on the Motor City Machine Guns coming in. Seems like they're just plugging in.
Got one at Bad Blood as well, a bigger one. With the Ford Field got so
people thought that was like teasing an event, didn't they? Yeah.
On SmackDown, it was kind of like you couldn't get nothing from it. Whereas they went Detroit, you got the rock and roll move. So it's more like this is them now. And I think these aren't going to be on for 8. I think these could debut maybe next week or the week after. I think they're going to be on quickly. The Machine Guns, like so.
What do you think of the chances in WWE? Like, it's become a meme on this podcast that they'd be better off in NXT. I don't think that's true of everyone. And I think with them, just to verbalize it, like I enjoyed. And again, cards on the table. Didn't see everything from their TNA run. Didn't see all the TV matches. Saw a fair amount, though, like from that most recent run. Shelley on his own and them as a team. They are fantastic veteran wrestlers as a tag team. But I think if they'd have gone to AEW, people would have just imagined it, rightly or wrongly, imagined in their head they were getting peak TNA, Motor City Machine Guns. They're going to go in there with the Bucks, and they were both going to turn the clock back and have a 5-star match, and they're going to raise the level of the fucking horrendous, admittedly horrendous AEW tag team division. And I just don't think that would have been the reality. They would have went in and been a nice little team and had a bit of a pop when they came in, and then 2 months in, everyone would have went, yeah, they've been all right. They've been fine. I'm a bit disappointed because they would have imagined something else in their head. I think NXT would have been a good route for them because, veterans who can help the other wrestlers. But WWE main roster is probably where they should land because they'll get a bit of a pop coming in. They'll get a bit of a push. They will work. And again, none of their TNA stuff was bad. It was 3.25 to 3.75 range. And what does that sound like? WWE main roster, like they'll be there and they'll shine and they'll know. I don't think anyone's gonna have those lofty expectations they would in AEW. Whether that's right or wrong, they won't, and they won't expect miracles out of them at this point in their career. And they'll do what they do, which is be a great veteran tag team. I think Shelley's got a little bit more in the locker as a singles guy still, but yeah, I think as a team, I think they'll be a solid addition to SmackDown. They'll work with some new younger teams, and that will be it really.
Well, I can just see them main eventing a SmackDown with DIY in like a 25-minute match. So at some point, that match will happen for sure. Street Profits as well. That'll be a good one. I agree with you. I mean, it's good to see them there, though, Ben. Like, I never thought I'd see them in WWE. Do you know what I mean? Ever. So it is good to see for the uniqueness of it for myself. But I agree with you. They're a bit obviously older these days. And no, let's not get it twisted, Benno. If Bucks and that would have been, it would have got 5 stars. It would have got 5 stars, wouldn't it? Let's be honest.
I don't know. Remember they came into that random 6-man with Jay Lethal? Like,
yes, he did, didn't he?
A match, wasn't it? No fanfare, nothing, and then they never came back again. Weird.
But I don't know whether will they get that big of a pop coming in? Like, I think
they will. I think
audience. Do you think?
But I think it's. I don't know. I think they'll sell it with like that, and the people who don't know will pretend they'll know, and they might even show some footage on telly. this new WWE, I think they will. In a Vince McMahon WWE, they come in, it'd be like, who are these jobbers? And he'd be like, really, what the grizzled young veterans have been in AEW? Just like a complete non-entity who are now fucking jobbing to the outrunners. And, apparently Zach Gibson's forgotten how to talk. I think their run would go like that. But yeah, I think it's, one of them. Yeah, if SmackDown's going 3 hours, Pat says, they need some acts to fill the time. So,
just as I say, just for the uniqueness of seeing them there and to see what they do, I am excited. I want to see what does happen with them. So, as I say, they'll never be like, as you said, Ben, they'll just be what everyone expects them to be. As you say, that veteran tag will have good matches on WWE TV and they'll be fine.
Well, before we get to AEW news and notes, last little note we do have, obviously Raw coming up tomorrow night. Kind of talked about it already. Gunther, Sami Zayn, Intercontinental Champion, backstage at the party, mid-card Jey Uso versus Xavier Woods.
Story there.
I mean, not even going to be an event on this Raw, mate. And Sheamus versus Pete Dunne in a good old-fashioned Donnybrook.
That'll be good, Ben.
Enjoy that.
That'll be good. That will. 3 good matches for myself there, but like Sami Zayn, Gunther should deliver 2 hours as well. So you've got 3 big matches there in the 2 hours instead of the 3 hours. So it'll be interesting to see how
in my old age, I've become a Sheamus and Drew McIntyre fan. I was sort of just lay it in a bit, you know what I mean? I like that about them. Big rugby type lads who are just willing to, give a few concussions out. I'm into it. Them and him and Pete Dunne will probably be good on Raw. So there you go. That's what we know, and presumably Gunther goes over as we've talked about. Switching over to AEW, a few news and notes before we do get out of here. Obviously, we talked the big TV deal on the weekend. Show me and JP, so you can get that over there if you want the overall assessment on that. But not going out of business is the takeaway, Matty. And unless you believe Eric Bischoff, who's been hilarious these last couple of days. Like, I think even Garrett fell off that train. Like, I watched Eric Bischoff's podcast because maybe he wins there that he convinced me to watch his podcast as it premiered
he did win.
Friday night. You got to click out of me, didn't he? And like honestly, I never said they wouldn't get a deal, but I did say and he was even to that point arguing the Variety story, which we haven't fully got here, but I'll mention it. Variety had said AEW's TV deal was for 150 million. Dave Meltzer had said it was more like 185. And guess what? Variety edited their story to say 185 million on average because it escalates each year. And the third year is higher than the second year, which is higher than the first year. But the average is 185 million. And apparently the fourth year, we don't know the number, is for a gigantic figure as well. And literally, as that news got released, I was watching Eric Bischoff go, you got Meltzer's version, you got Variety's version. I know, I believe. Yeah, Meltzer was right. So fuck you, Eric Bischoff. Profitable company going forward, Matty. He was even trying to fight that. He was going, I still don't believe they'll be profitable. And then he was naming all these fucking Brandon Thurston numbers, and Brandon Thurston, the man who's crunched these numbers, is like, nope, they will be profitable going forward. They haven't been. I think his estimate was like they were 33 million in the hole for this last year, and going forward, obviously with this gigantic increase, if it's up to 185 on average from the 70 odd we believe it is right now, they're going to be massively in profit. And more money for Tony Khan to spend, Matty. What's he going to spend it on? Is the question.
More wrestlers, more title belts. They're not cheap. More
he's jealous of that crown jewel belt.
Yeah, more licensed themes he can play. But Ben, that was never. I don't know where all this. Like, I haven't been following closely to it. Like, because it's a known start of me. They were always going to get a TV deal. They were always going to get a good TV deal as well. It was just a non. Fucking starter, and fair play, as I say, more money for them to to run up the wall with wrestlers and such. So yeah, fair play to them, Ben. That's all you can say.
I almost didn't want to include this story, but to tie on to that, and like I say, me and JP ran in the numbers, and it is a gigantic win for AEW. It's the best TV deal any company other than WWE has ever gotten, and they're going to be gigantically profitable going forwards. And then in like the shadow of that, everyone celebrated that story. Dynamite did 680,000 viewers and at a 0.20 in the 1849.
But Ben, this is where it's honestly
normal for what they are right now. They're still, the rank was great on TV as it always is, and that's what they've been paid on the rank. But AEW's problems do still exist, and I do think there's a overall investment problem. I think people have in AEW, just slapdash element of it. Like, have you seen the stuff with Chris Statlander going into this week? Apparently on the TV over the weekend, I haven't the chance to catch up on Collision and Rampage. Yeah, she's been moved away from Stokely and is no longer a heel and is going to be a babyface. It's like there seems to be a lot of that. We were talking about on the weekend show, like Okada and Takeshita seemed to be something they were teasing. That's just been dropped. Like, right hand doesn't seem to know what the left hand's doing right now. Maybe it was Tony Khan distracted by all this TV stuff, which should have been his priority, getting this deal done. Or maybe it's, football season in effect, but things just seem a little bit messy right now. Yeah, not loving it right now. And we talked about Dynamite on the weekend show. I'm sure you haven't watched it. It's 2.5 fucking hours. It was outgoing, and it was like on paper, Ospreay versus Ricochet was a good match. Okada versus
I've seen them help each other do moves, Benno. To be fair, I've seen that. Match. I mean, that didn't look good.
It wasn't bad. It just Ricochet has got a limit these days. I think the biggest problem with it was the two finishes, the double pin and then
double pin. Yeah,
start they were the issue, and run through some of their old spots they had to do. But of course, it's going to be a notch slower, and it told a decent story. It just wasn't. It didn't make me want to see it again. Let's just say that, and it didn't necessarily make me want to see. I do want to see the 3-way with Takeshita as well. But it says something that they pulled the cord and put that match on a Dynamite. They put allegedly one of the highest paid wrestlers in AEW, Kazuchika Okada, in there against Bryan Danielson in the main event, and that long main event dragged that overrun down and the quarter hour down. People weren't into it. They were bored, like I said I was on the weekend show. And you're not supposed to say that. Oh, Bryan Danielson versus Kazuchika Okada. You're supposed to say, as a sophisticated wrestling fan, oh, what great work they did. People just don't get it. But it was a bit boring, really. And it's just AEW in general isn't, lighting fires right now, even coming out of that. Maybe it's a hard ask for them to coming out of that hot all-in, all-out period, which was, for my money, back-to-back the best 1-2 combo pay-per-views they've ever done.
What I do enjoy and what I do check out, like, honest to God, this isn't just me overhyping it, and I'm not a big fan of him. That Jon Moxley promo backstage I watched off Dynamite was one of the best things I've fucking seen in fucking years. That was so good. And even with his promos, Moxie can throw a few weird lines and can go off a bit. That honestly was no perfect. The lines he was saying, the demeanor which he said it, just the seriousness with it. Honestly, he's turned me full end with this. But once again, like I said on the preview, the bell's got to ring and he'll just take me out of it with us going to the next spot before he's even thought of it. You know what I mean? Honestly, but the mic work and the character has been fucking superb stuff. What I've seen of him, really fucking good.
Oh, and the most I've been into Moxley pretty much in his AEW run. My worry is obviously WrestleDream coming up, and we've got an updated line for WrestleDream. Yeah, I think that's honestly where they're going. Meltzer was saying, Observer Radio, that's the one thing they have had planned out was to get to this match. And it has felt weird, like this Bryan run recently. It kind of felt like they're just throwing shit at the wall. Like, let's get the Okada match done because he wants to do it before he retires again. He wants to, tick these boxes off. He wants to tick the Nigel box off. Yeah, I think I wouldn't do it myself. I don't think I'm that as much as I'm into the new Moxley character. For him to get the belt back again, we've seen it. It's not that interesting when he's world champion. Maybe this will be different with the new character, but I think it is where they're going, and that's why they victory with Darby.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't all this leading to Shane McMahon or not? Is this the discourse? Is it actually not? I've seen that.
I mean, I wouldn't put it. That tells you the depths of some of the AW creative that people genuinely believe that Shane McMahon's going to be this greater power who's behind the new Blackpool Combat Club, whatever they're called. I don't believe it because it'd just be the best. I could see Shane coming in some way. I could, but I think there's more fun way of doing that with Shane. And him doing fake hard man stood behind
Raw Underground,
the new William Regal, the new Mean Street Posse they could be into the Blackpool Combat Club. I just don't see it. I don't see it. But it doesn't mean I'm right. It doesn't mean I'm right. It's like Moxley winning the world title. I wouldn't book it, but it doesn't mean Tony Khan wouldn't.
I just think you can't beat him though, Ben. I'm going old school. I just don't think you reheat him up this serious and this thing that you can beat him straight away. I'm just using that logic. Like, if it weren't Bryan retiring, would you not say it? Would you say give him the belt? Is it because he's going to retire him or is it just that you, like you said there, you've seen it before with Moxley?
Because if you did it in 3 months, maybe I'd be more in tune with it. Because I think there's legs in this Bryan as like a defending champion, working all the people he didn't get a chance to work thing. Maybe the ratings say otherwise, but I do think.
But wasn't it always gonna be though that he was gonna retire in his home? It's in his home state, isn't it? The pay-per-view. So it's it's going to be interesting.
Steph believes it
once again, like the Swerve match. It's going to have that intrigue as well. That like it could be the last show. It's going to be obviously heated and mocked.
But I just think
he's been in a while,
if it was my promotion and Brian's going out, like you want to put a new act over. Like this is a big scalp, Bryan Danielson, your world champion, and I say new act. It can be Hangman. It can be Swerve, who count as a new top line act. Ospreay, it could be like we'd all pay to see Ospreay and Bryan go at it one more time with some stakes and some build. And imagine Ospreay building that up with promos and stuff. I'd love that. I just don't think Moxley is as exciting as maybe Tony Khan does. But yeah, that's what we have for WrestleDream so far. We have Bryan Moxley. We have Young Bucks against Private Party, which is just like a. I know. Remember 5 years ago when they put them over? Worked out well, didn't it? Like that tag division is just dead on arrival. Maybe they were expecting the guns and City Machine Guns, and they were going to fit this spot or something, but not very interesting to me. Jack Perry against Katsuyori Shibata is on the show. Ospreay Ricochet Takeshita. I do think that'll be a better match than the Dynamite match because Ospreay and Takeshita are in there, and Ricochet.
Takeshita.
You know, well, I think in a three-way environment he won't get as
more people to help him do his spots. I've seen. Sorry, I've got to mention in the chat. Rian's mentioned Ricochet. I seen him in Vikingo paired off in the trios, weren't they? I seen their spots today doing the rounds on Twitter. Yeah. So
that's cool. Vikingo apparently is a free agent, so could see him on not AEW apparently, according to Conan. So that's on there. Mark Briscoe against Chris Jericho, which got set up on Dynamite. Darby Allin versus Brody King, which is a real life. People are excited about that because Brody and Darby's interactions previously have been really good. But this is as an answer to Darby's open challenge. JP was stipulating on the weekend show he thought it was going to be Lashley, and that would be the way they bring Lashley in. Would have been shit for Darby Allin to be fodder for an ex-WWE guy, but I could see the book in there. Darby and Brody's are just a bit like, okay, I'm sure it'll be good. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. Feels a little bit on end and a little bit like there might have been a better way to, tell a story with them too. But yeah, that's what we get. And Atlantis Jr. This is the most wild one on 0 Hour defending the ROH TV championship. Who knew that Atlantis Jr. was the ROH TV champion defending against Brian Cage?
Yeah, I've seen that. I don't know where I've seen that, but I've seen that was the 0 Hour. But Ben, this is even thing. That does sound like the weakest pay-per-view lineup for a while, as you say, coming off all in and all out.
Most thrown together, I'll give you that.
Definitely for sure. They just seem
it'll be fucking good though. The matches will be good. It's the AW story, is it not? I think it'll be better in ring than what we just watched outside of the opener.
We'll see. We'll see about that one. Then I don't know about Shibata and Jack Perry. I mean,
no, I don't.
This is the thing. Like, it's the same conversations though all the time. It's the complete opposite in a way. Do you know what I mean? They are, and it's just. How long can it go on for, Ben? Even with the TV stuff,
it should be opposite.
I get totally. But like you're saying there before, all this money that just shows you the power of the TV deals, obviously. But it's like, I'm not just digging in. It's the attendances. It's even the fans who like AEW are not into their own product. There's just something off completely with the ratings, the attendances, the investments. What is it? We've been saying it for a while now, though. What is it, and what can they do to turn it round? I don't think they can. I don't think or are they just waiting for that spark then that it'll just do? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, but they do. You said a couple of months back. It's a bigger conversation. It is. That's what I mean. I'm dying to get them all down together and listen to someone tell me what the fucking issue is. Like,
we should not forget we all sat in a stadium and watched All In and watched one of the greatest, moments in wrestling.
Yeah, in England though, Benno, and I get that.
That was great too. That was great too. There's been a lot of good too, but I think just generally, if you want, it's a bigger conversation.
Yeah, of course it is.
Being acceptable or good or great, however you want to call it, just reduced AEW's, ways. AEW's mission statement was always win off them, and there's less ways to not be them now. And if anything, they do a lot of stuff that WWE wouldn't do anymore, like the fucking.
So is that turning their own fans away? Is that what it is?
MXM stuff and all of that. Like, I think they've got a bit of an identity crisis. I think is the big thing, and it's just hard to be the hot thing when you were the hot thing as the alternative, and now You know, I think Brandon Thurston got murdered for this, for saying there's no need for, or it wasn't him who said it was it was Brandon Lightshed, I think it was, saying there's no need for an alternative anymore. I wouldn't go that far, but there's, if you wanted to word it, there's less of a need in some fans' eyes. I think that's gone to it as well. And yeah, I think AEW, the best thing they can do, good cards, logical booking, bit more planning than we've had going into WrestleDream, and yeah, consistency going forward. I think that is the only way, really. You just got to get your head down and do your own thing. They've got the money now. They're not going away anytime soon. We've got fucking guaranteed at least 3 years, probably 4, probably 5, probably 10, probably 20. With with the Carlin family behind it. Let's just concentrate now on that and yeah, just be consistent.
But there's, like, I'm not saying there's no excuse, but like, look at the roster they've got though, Benno. Look at the amount of wrestlers they've got as well. They could have a core of, like, they've got actual, I'm not saying, I don't think they've got any big stars, but they've got familiar stars to people. Do you know what I mean? I'm not just going through the, but he's gone though, isn't he? He's going. He's done. He's done in a month, isn't he? So you can't even hang your hat on him no more. You've got Moxley, Sasha Banks and Monet. Yeah, so use them. You've got an Ospreay who's like the biggest, from Japan. Akada. So. There's people like, but they're not big stars though to me. Them, but there's just something. Honestly, Ben, it baffles me at the same time. Do you know what I mean? It really baffles me that
it's a momentum thing, I think, for the most part.
At the turn on, I'm not happy with it. It's crazy.
You've got to make Hangman big star in the AEW ecosystem. Swerve Strickland's become a big star. I am looking forward to what they're going to do with him and Lashley. I kind of didn't think I'd say that. Ospreay is another one. You've got
MJF, which is the MJF to me. He's probably one of the biggest stars that they've got is MJF. But it's even Hangman, Ben. But that's my whole point about Hangman. Not that I'm sick to death of it, but like every discourse I see of AEW, he's this great savior. But then at the same time, everyone says he's hardly ever fucking there. So if he's,
that's an old argument. He's been around for a while.
Been around, but isn't he fighting Jeff Jarrett? I know it's a good thing to say.
He was, but now it's Jay White.
Jay White, okay, but I keep hearing he's the savior of wrestling. It's like, is he?
You don't. No one says he's the savior of wrestling.
He's the greatest things in AEW that people keep saying. You know what I mean? It's
true. Do you not watch the Swerve Feud? It was great. And more of that.
That's Swerve. That's Swerve for me. But anyway,
it was absolutely Hangman as well. Hangman, Swerve, and Ospreay. They're your three guys, and stick with them. And yeah, on the star front, I mean, I don't know what you mean outside the Rock and what. I think that and Rock, Roman, and Cody, like
CM Punk.
Yeah, there's Punk, I suppose. But outside of that, the bigger AEW's top guys are of the same level as WWE's top guys.
Yeah, Orton and that. Kevin Owens.
Orton, for example.
Orton. Who are you telling me's a bigger star than Randy Orton? Because don't even say, like whoever, don't even say anyone like a Hangman Page or a Jay White.
Yeah, Orton's not a big star. He's only a big star to you.
We'll have to organise this show soon, Benno. We'll have to have this fucking big conversation, all four of us, and get guests on. We'll have this
nonsense. And I'm willing to criticise AEW when it's valid, but I don't agree with that. But yeah, outside that, what other stuff we got before we go? I think that's pretty much it, really. Obviously, Dynamite is coming up this week. We've got a few matches announced for that as well. Danielson and Uso versus Claudio and Pac. Mercedes defending against Emi Sakura. Am I helping my own arguments here? Am I? Hook's going to be calling out Taz's attackers, and Darby Allin and Brody King are going face to face. Oh, and Willow and Britt too. That's going on this week on AEW. Yeah, nothing else really going on in the wrestling world unless you had anything. Matty, you did want to mention the Nikki Garcia story. Former Nikki Bella has got a restraining order against her ex-husband, Artem Chigventsev. Is that how you pronounce his name? Yeah, horrible little story. That one. Hopefully, all is good in her world. But yeah, that was the only other really notable news story, I think. Unless there's anything I'm missing, Matty.
No, that's it. But I will say in the chat, like there's people like Steph saying there, Hangman's your cinema, Steph. Fully on board with that. I'm saying it Roman's mind, so yeah, I totally understand when you're into someone and into a product. I'm there.
Of course you are. Anything else to plug or anything like that, man? Try and keep these ones relatively brief when it's been these.
Yeah, we kind of went off on one at the end there, guys. But yeah, we're just looking forward to the month ahead, Benno, aren't we? What we said at the top of the show, some good stuff coming up. Got the main man coming on this week to review No Mercy. Our Fed Odyssey continues. So yeah,
I'm going to be outnumbered on that, aren't I? Oh, here we go again. I keep saying we need to get Cedric in, so I've got a tag team partner.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
But no, I'm really looking forward to the month ahead, and I hope, you know, our listeners are too. Really, some good shows, eclectic run of shows coming up. So that's what we try and provide here, don't we? So yeah, really looking forward to it, Ben.
Are you going to buy a WWE Lowrider? Rian asks. I wouldn't put it past you, mate.
Although I did keep he was in Steph's. I told you, getting rid of his brother's getting rid of his collection. There's a WWE ring which I've kept, Ben, and I was wearing it yesterday, so I'll have to debut that on one of the shows.
I'm gonna turn this show on one day, and you're gonna have the fucking Ula Fowler on a belt on and a ring as well.
Oh no, I've never been a belt guy. Wearing it, I'd have one on the display or on thing, but I've never been. I just wouldn't feel comfortable with carrying one or wearing one round. Just not for me at all. So yeah.
Come on, Tony. No. We need to get our shit together. We've got 185 billion to play with here. Let's sort it out. Let's put these fuckers where they belong.
There we are.
You can have Miro and Alistair Black and fucking. You can have Mercedes back, to be honest.
Oh, was this Miro that when he was in AEW? That there's another one, Miro. No one likes him anymore. He was the best thing in the world when he was on AEW. You know what I mean? Now he's going back to WWE. No, but he was really good. He was fucking so good as the Redeemer, wasn't he?
Everyone
his
agrees.
Promos, his matches. Oh yeah, we'll see when he comes back to WWE. No one will like him anymore. They want Alistair Black, to be fair, no one's ever liked him, so fair play.
I was going to say they can send Mercedes back after the shit you were saying about Vince this week, but yeah, we'll see. But yeah, as you noted, plenty going on the Patreon and for YouTube members this month. Film Club, Halloween Horror. We're gonna have a patrons poll for that you guys are gonna put together. I'm gonna take the week off. Can't wait. Flashback with No Mercy 2001 with me, you, and Michael Hamflet will be out this week. We'll have the return of GRAPPL Lads episode 2. It's going to be the one, the GRAPPL Social, however you want to call it. Me, you, and Garrett in the pub, just chatting some wrestling. If that sounds like something you'd like, get on the Patreon or become a YouTube member. And last but certainly not least, the King of the Mountain pick of the month from our King of the Mountain, Chris Platt, who's outdone himself. We do, if you're not aware of the concept, one of our the highest level on our Patreon. If you do join, you can set the agenda for a month, and we just had Simon Mulvaney re-sign up as well. So looking forward to his pick too, Connor and Ewan, and who else have we got coming up? We've got Eddie Sarburns coming up with his choice as well. You're going to have a lot to answer for when it comes to this month, because Shane, the King of the Mountain show, is going to be a corker too. That's coming up. Spotlight live every week. Weekend show live every Friday, or Thursday, sorry, at the minute. Out on audio on Fridays. And Retro will be coming up as well. All kinds going on this month, Matthew.
Oh yeah, Brett, got to plug Retro there, Ben, because for once you'd be proud of us. It was kind of a split show. We actually announced episode 10 on episode 9. We have, yeah. Owen Hart tie-in, Benno. We had Owen. The latest episode, if anyone that hasn't listened, episode 9 is Brett tagging with Owen Hart, which bleeds into obviously the WrestleMania 10 match, and we're going to pick another Owen Hart TV match to dive into. So it's a good accompanying, so we don't repeat ourselves. And
do you want suggestions?
Tell the whole story. No, we're good, Ben. We're good for the next month, so we're all good. Gareth's got the spreadsheet going for future episodes, but when it comes to episode 10, it was always planned to do WrestleMania 10 for both our OCDs. So really looking forward to getting that out at the end of the month for sure.
Always a corker, Brett show. Yeah, got some big plans for November and December coming up as well. But yeah, that's all off for another show. Thank you to our patrons for another month and our YouTube members. Thank you to our live patrons for tuning in live with us tonight. And yeah, thank you to our Kings of the Mountain, which are getting it's an ever bigger list at the minute. Connor O'Loughlin, Eddie Sarburns, Chris Platt, Ewan Cameron, Carl Gack, Simon Mulvaney, and a shout out to Mark Buckledy, whose show will be coming up in November as well. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you again with Hamflet in the midweek. Good night, all.
Say that.
See ya.